Jeremy, your picture? Your picture?
I'll look.
Yes.
Mr. Tate? Yeah, me too. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense. It's the 9. Yeah.
September of last year.
Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. All day long. I said, do it again. I don't like that. You're I'm not but I am leaving at 10. Yes. I have to be up at 4:30 in the morning. And I cannot work 12-hour shifts, like 4 hours a sleep. I just can't do it. And if you guys can, that's fine. I've tried it before. Staying here till 11 o'clock, going home, wired, and then, yeah, I can't do it.
I'm waiting on my phone call.
I don't even know if we'll be through your gym by 10 o'clock.
Still playing.
tight at 6.
I just can't do it. I do too, but
We were up 64. 60.
Good evening, how are you?
My daughter planted 2 miles. They ran back together.
So I took my Jeep in to get petitions. It was terrible for this kid, the kid, the storm kid. He does a great job, but it looks like a brand new, it smells like a brand new vehicle. I'd recommend it to anybody. But the rims of the Jeep have these little like spikes on them. Well, whatever chemical he used on the tires, stripped coating or paint or whatever off these spikes. And I'm not sure. He had his wife come over and look at it to see what we should figure out. He thought maybe they just popped off. Well, we took a pair of pliers and she tried to pop it off and it broke, and there's like a stem in the rim or something. I don't know. She's like, we're probably gonna have to replace these rims, these wheels. I'm like, oh God, I hate that. I know, but you know how expensive those wheels are?
Probably.
Well, that sounds bad. But look at these little plastic things. I said, just tape it and paint them. I don't care what you do. But then she broke that
Okay, I have 7 o'clock. We'll call the May 9th, 7th board meeting to order. We'll lead off with the pledge of allegiance followed by the prayer. And prayer begin the seating by council.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, give the members of the board guidance as the agenda items are discussed and voted on. Help us be mindful of the opinions of others as discussion is ongoing. Keep the discussions on point to move the meeting speedily. Watch over all in attendance as they travel home this evening. In the name of our ascended and risen Savior, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call, please.
Clark Hanley.
Present.
Mark Bennett.
Here.
Teresa Bang. Here. Tim Brown.
Here.
Carol Cole. Here. Julie Edwards. Here. Martha Bernhaber. Here. Clay Hardy.
Here.
Doug Keenan.
Here.
Annette Martin. Sean Martz. Tad Mayhall. Here. Keith McCormick. Tim Morse.
Here.
Lori Nelson. Bobby Orman.
Here.
Sonny Ross.
Here.
Mitchell Sheff. Don Tate.
Here.
Brett Wallace.
Here.
Jeremy Williams.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, item 3 on the agenda is discussion votes to approve the minutes from the April 11th, 24 board meeting. This is the minutes from the regular board meeting. There are motions to approve. Warren makes a motion to approve. Is there a second? Martha seconds the motion. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Can you hold the microphone a little closer or something? Someone asked.
Is this better? Okay.
Here you go.
Item 3B is the April 22nd emergency board meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes? Don Tate makes a motion to approve those minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Clay Harvey. Is there any discussion on the minutes from the emergency board meeting? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. At this point in time, before we start the rest of the body of the agenda, I would just like to reiterate to the board, only speak when recognized. If there's questions for the board members, we'll recognize the question and answer through the chair. When it comes to the discussion during the meeting of the board for the public, if it gets unruly and loud in here, I will immediately call a vote for removal of anybody that is unruly. Loud, interrupted, and vulgar, I will call the vote. Everybody be warned up front. So item 4 is the announcement of vacancy of the office of the Grand State Attorney due to the resignation of Dr. England, effective tomorrow at 4 o'clock. We'll come back to this appointment. Item 6 is Sandra Earp with a discussion on women's solar ordinances with additional amendments. Sandra, you can have the floor, please.
Thank you. First of all, let me thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you, board members, and to the citizens of Shelby County. I'd like to present a sunset provision or amendment to the zoning ordinance that we had to establish by the state. This would actually, when this is found invalid, that it will go back to our zoning ordinance that was filed in October 14th of 2021. It is an excellent ordinance that protects us from the turbine situation that is going to be happening here. The second item is I would like, if it is possible, for the board to talk about joining the planning committee and the zoning committee together under Scott and Key. This will bring us knowledge and wisdom to tackle this invasion that is going to be happening to us. The next item is a legal term called de novo. And what this is that we can say no to these companies. At which time, when we do, a suit will be brought by the turbine complexes against the county. And that suit will be to change our decision only. Will this cost us lawyer fees, attorney fees? Absolutely. I'm not saying that it won't. But to save our county farmlands, I feel, and in my opinion, it is worth it. And I'm bringing that information out so that we all have it. The governor stated that he had no interest in taking control of our county. And then he signed eminent domain in 11 counties, excluding Cook and 2 other counties up there. Then the governor stated he had no interest in removing county specification standards. And then he did. And now our lives Our farmland is under invasion. The amount of leases filed in this county is very, very concerning. I have a list of just a few items that I tried to whittle down so that we all know what's going to happen with these turbine complexes coming in. And I also want you to know that the solar and the CO2 pipelines aren't much better. First of all, there's going to be a loss of land value and income, and that's private and taxable money. Home resale values will decrease. Check out the National Realtor Association if you want to back up that. Lower crop production because of the footprint of these turbines. Decrease in revenue and taxes as ag-related businesses decrease. There's a computed tax standard ratio for the school systems. Any money that's made after that goes back to the state, so we won't be making extra money from it. Non-payment by these companies of taxable income or property taxes, or they don't pay their construction fees, and there's a mechanics lien placed on the land. The farm owner, the land owner, is responsible for this. In many places in the United States, they've had to sell their farms to pay this. Because once these companies go bankrupt, you've got nothing. I want you to know that the turbine complex representatives with these contracts, they do not tell you the truth. If the turbines are left and there is no company to remove any part of them, then this falls back on the landowner again. The blades are not recyclable. They do dig a hole and put them in the ground. Owners have to get permission if they want to build or do anything close to these turbines from the companies. They don't tell you that. Damages to roads, bridges, field tiles. Again, these companies go bankrupt, they're left unfixed. It doesn't matter how many contracts we adopt that they have to sign. If they're bankrupt and gone, there's nobody left to pay it except us. You'll like this one. It's about lightning. Workers' wind manuals state that if there's lightning, they have to get back from the turbine at least 3,000 feet. But they're planning on putting these turbines much, much closer to our properties. Oil leakages, fires, emergencies such as ice throw from the blades, collapse of the turbines. All of this puts added stress and cost on the first line defenders. Recreational income decline for the lakes and parks. DC is discussing now opening the national parks to this invasion. A lot of our drinking water comes from aquifers. The holes that are dug are massive. We are in an earthquake fault. What do you think happens there, folks? Massive amounts of concrete and rebar are used to make these. Over 600 cubic meters. I have no idea how much that is, but the pictures I've seen, it's quite large. Leaching from this concrete is corrosive acidic chemicals. They leach into the soil and they make the farmland useless. It's poison to the land. This concrete is not removed. It's 20 to 40 feet deep. It stays there. They say they'll take off the top 5 feet. What about the rest of it, folks? Bird kill by the blades. Eagles, bats, owls, dead. Bees leave. Even the worms leave because of the vibration these make into the land, into the soil. Farm animals are affected. Then the adverse effects to humans, us. Heart, breathing, balance, eyes, infrasound, inside your home. They're even killing the whales. They're killing our ocean. Over 800 gallons of oil are put in these turbines. That's changed yearly. They will never recoup the energy money that is put out to put them in. They never make it back. Warrensburg, theirs are 492 feet tall. The planned height here is 698 feet. What type of adverse footprint do you think that will put on our land? These companies don't tell you that. European countries, Germany even, they're opening their coal plants, they're bringing back online alternative sources of energy. This is simply not sustainable. A representative of a local farm bureau said, "We are too ignorant to do research." FFAs are accepting money from these companies and complexes. Environmental leaders have been bought. It is up to us to do all we can legally to stop the invasion of our farmland. Our county is not special. We are one of 11 counties that have been invaded by the state and green energy. There's a Facebook page called Protect Shelby County, Illinois, where we try and put out what is happening in the world, in our country, and in our state, as far as the current events going on with this green energy program. My best advice at this time, don't sign anything. Yes, ideally, not signing would be great, but LLCs, non-resident owners, even our neighbors and family who either don't know the destructive ramifications or they don't care, sign. If they didn't sign, then the fight to stop this invasion of our farmland would be easier. Again, the amount of leases filed in this county is very concerning. Once the farmland is destroyed, what then for the children and their children? Please note that solar and CO2 pipelines, green energy, is just as dangerous of an invasion to our county. And money and greed are very, very powerful. God has put a Goliath in front of us. I'm asking that we be the David. Thank you.
Thank you. So item 7 is discussion and vote to approve amendments to the zoning ordinance as recommended by the zoning ZBA on April 25th, 2024. Any questions, or I'll need a motion to approve the amendments? Or a motion? Mark will make the motion. Is there a second? Second by Jeremy. Any discussion on the amendments as presented? Scott, would you like to give a quick overview of what the amendments are?
Sure. This, basically, there are 3 points to this. Essentially, I wanted to clarify, we're not supposed to be charging any fees for anything other than houses on agriculturally producing farmland. So I wanted to clear that up, and that's why item 1 and item 2 are about that. When I got into office, I was told that we don't charge fees for this, so I really haven't been, but it doesn't actually say that in our ordinance anywhere. So I wanted to clarify that for the next guy down the line or the zoning board of appeals or anybody. So going forward, we'll make sure that this is in there. Item 3 is about kind of the same thing, fees for buildings that are damaged. Like there's a provision in the state statute that says that we shall not charge a fee for buildings that are destroyed by tornadoes and things like that. So that's what that says. That wasn't in our ordinance, and I went in there. And then Article 4 and Article 5 are about wind and solar energy facilities. And basically, we want them to sign a road use agreement with the county highway department. So that's what that's for. That way, if they damage the roads, they are responsible for paying for it.
Any questions, comments, concerns on the amendments passed by the ZBA? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8 is Jesse McCluskey with the U of I Extension. It's the annual presentation to the county about U of I Extension services offered. We have Jesse in the room, Steve. Okay, well, she makes it, we will circle back. Item 9. Well, item 9 is, we'll go ahead and address it. Discussion and vote to approve of the FY25 agreement between the Shelby County Board and U of I Extension for continued financial support. Is there a motion? Brent makes the motion, is there a second? Second by Tad. Any discussion on the financial support that we do annually?
The dollar amount, Mr. Chairman,
Is that 47,000, I think, a year?
I thought it was 70 something.
Or 74? I don't have that taken with me.
Oh, wait. Appropriating the 79,000?
79,000.
79,618. Does that sound right?
So $79,618.
It's on page 7 of the,
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Clark Hamley,
Yes.
Mark Bennett,
Yes.
Teresa Bank,
yes.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Carol Cole,
Yes.
Julie Edwards,
Yes.
Martha Fernhaber,
Yes.
Clay Hardy,
Yes.
Doug Keenan,
Yes.
Tad Mayhall,
Yes.
Tim Morse,
Yes.
Laura Nelson,
Yes.
Bobby Orman,
Yes.
Sonny Ross,
Yes.
Bill Duff,
Yes.
Don Tate,
Yes.
Brent Wallace,
Yes.
Jeremy Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item 10, Michael Tappan, County Highway Engineer, with the report and some resolutions and 50/50 petitions to vote on. So with that, Michael, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Chair. I am going to ask to table 10A, which is the resolution for CD&I to do the design for us. At this time, we're just going to table it due to just exploring, making sure it's the best use of our resources. So,
Okay, rather than tabling, we'll just pass it over.
okay. Sounds good. All right. With that, I'm just going to move on to my report. So just continued brags on our maintenance and department team. The maintenance guys, we've done a lot of maintenance around the shop, our reconstruction of our lowboy trailer. It is just finished up as of today. So guys, once again, I feel saved a lot of money. This is a $100,000 trailer, and they have probably $3,000–4,000 worth of material and a lot of time and labor into reconstructing it. So my guys out back did save us a lot of money there. They've done reclamation on shoulders on the county highway, continued on that. In the last week, they did have to shut down County Highway 22, which is between Herrick and Cowden. That was shut down for 2 or 3 days. There was a pipe that was causing a dangerous situation. We felt it necessary to shut down the road and reconstruct the pipe. It was done fairly expediently. My guys got right on it. Within a day or two, it was back. Everything moved on well. We feel it's gone very well. So we've done filling the potholes throughout the county. We've done clearing on right-of-way east of Cowden. I feel that does open everything up. It makes it safer and looks aesthetically a lot better as well. We've been doing rock hauling for our oil and shipping. We've done a 50/50 drainage for Todd's Point subdivision, reconstructing 3 pipes underneath the roadway. We've done a pug mill for patch. We took 2,200 tons of aggregate and had this machine that mixed in oil and made patch for the maintenance of our roads. Sorry. We've done Finley Road drainage progress. This is County Highway 3 west of Finley. We intend to do a lot more drainage improvements, but my guys have been doing what they can, weather permitting, and with the farmers in the field. So we're going to continue to work on drainage in there, as well as all over through the county where there are drainage concerns. Patching on the Finley Road. For my front office team, we've done the coordination and pre-construction meetings on the Oconee Bridge, which I'll discuss a little bit later. Coordination on guardrail reconstruction throughout the county. Myself and one of my team members did do a training on non-redundant steel tension member class, which is a safety class for whenever we do our bridge inspections, making sure they're safe. So we did complete that and both of us got our certifications. County Highway 5 reconstruction coordination, I can discuss that a little bit further later. Stipulated agreements on Ocod Township, which is a resolution for later I'll probably discuss as well. Right-of-way clearing coordination, organization around the office. We've done bridge inspections, County Highway 22, which was discussed earlier. Continued planning on multiple grant issues around the county, and 50/50 estimates. As far as projects, we are continuing. I mentioned previously County Highway 5, which is north of Shelbyville, between Shelbyville and Finley, that goes to the Coon Creek campground, and they are going to asphalt that within the next 12 months, I would say. We were hoping for a June letting, but I think that might have gotten pushed back to August. So that will be constructed in the near future. County Highway 3, we're still waiting on programming from IDOT. I just had a county engineers meeting 2 days ago with IDOT on that, and they're waiting on the information just as much as I am, anxiously waiting. So we've got plans pretty much put together and ready. We're just waiting on IDOT to let us use the funding. So there's a bridge in Herborn. It is getting ready to start next week. We have 2 bridges in Oconee Township. One started this week. The demolition of the existing bridge has occurred, and they are going to start construction of the new bridge beginning next week. We have guardrail that is moving forward. All around the county, there's a damaged guardrail that's been happening for decades, and we're just going to replace that, making sure that our guardrail does protect our road, our drivers. So with that, we've got more trainings that we're going to do, and our equipment. We are just saying again, we're very appreciative of the county board as well as our road and bridge for the support you guys have given us. So can't say it enough, so we do appreciate it. My guys are super happy and we're putting the equipment to work. So we're thankful and appreciative. So with that, I'll move on to the resolutions. Do you want me to, or?
Yeah, so I'll read them off real quick in the microphone and then we will call the motions. So item B is resolution to approve the engineering agreement with Gonzalez Companies to provide engineering, design, and other items for the reconstruction of railroad crossings at 1975 East, 1900 East, and 1750 East, intersecting with Union Pacific Railroad in Oakland Township. Estimated design costs are around $70,500. Construction and engineering costs will be 100% reimbursable by the ICC post-construction. Is there a motion? Tim Brown makes a motion, seconded by Jeremy. Is there any questions for the engineer while he's here? Hearing none, we will take a roll call, please.
Clark Gambling,
Yes.
Mark Bennett,
Yes.
Teresa Bain,
Yes.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Carol Cole,
Yes.
Julie Edwards,
Yes.
Martha Sternhaber,
Yes.
Clay Hardy,
Yes.
Doug Keenan,
Yes.
Tad Mayhall,
Yes.
Tim Morse,
Yes.
Laura Nelson,
Yes.
Bobby Orman,
Yes.
Sonny Ross,
Yes.
Mitchell Shuff,
Yes.
Don Tate,
Yes.
Brett Wallace,
Yes.
Jeremy Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item C is a 50/50 petition to construct drainage improvements by Penn Township Highway Commissioner at at County Road 1700 West, about 1 mile, 1/2 mile north of County Highway 21. So it's at 1700 West, half mile north of 21. Estimated cost is $49,9256 to be shared between the county and township. Is there a motion? Tim Brown makes a motion. Is there a second? Seconded by Martha. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Amling,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bain,
Yes.
Brown,
Yep.
Cole,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
Sternhaber, Hardy,
Yes.
Keenan,
Yes.
Mayhall,
Yes.
Morse,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Orman,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Shuff,
Yes.
Tate,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, item D, 50/50 petition to construct drainage improvements by Lakewood Township Road Commissioner, County Road 1650 East, just south of 700 North, estimated cost of $8894.52 to be shared between the county and township. Is there a motion? Motion by Tim Brown. Is there a second by Brent? Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Amling,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bain,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Cole, Edwards,
Yes.
Sternhaber,
Yes.
Hardy,
Yes.
Keenan,
Yes.
Mayhall,
Yes.
Morse,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Orman,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Shuff,
Yes.
Tate,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, engineer. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Item 11, discussion and vote to approve the budget amendment resolution for the circuit clerk's office for acceptance of a $46,500 grant. And a nickel, so $46,530.05. And a grant funding from AOIC Technology Grant. Is there a motion? Motion by Julie, second by Martha. Any discussion?
Can I ask what this is?
It's a budget amendment for,
Yeah, I can
it's
read.
so they can use the grant funds,
But do you know what the grant's for? Technology.
computers and
They can be used
software.
for anything as far as technology and
That's
stuff.
true. May I?
So,
In finance, we saw a large bill come through that we didn't understand. It was for some application, cell phone, iPhone, Android apps. This is something that is state mandated for the circuit clerk's office for defendants to be able to access court records and court information. The bill is already approved to be paid this evening. there was a lapse, so we're going to pay the bill before we actually get the money because it overlapped a little bit. But my understanding is that's what this money is
I
from.
think we already have the money.
If we've already,
We don't have
if it was already in, it's probably a,
We have the money. We have the money. We already have the money.
the money was already budgeted.
We have received the grant money.
Right.
May I? Okay. This is actually the Administrative Office of Illinois Courts Technology Modernization Grant. This is the third consecutive year that the court has applied for it. We have, the grant comes out in usually late October. That's what happened this time, late October. The grant is to be done and submitted by January, which is after our budget year. So when we first got this, we came in and asked for a new line item to be made, which is, it's called Technology Fund, I believe. And the only thing that funds it are these state grants, if the state agrees to give it to us. When we apply for the grant through the court system and the circuit clerk's office, it is down to the specific item and specific penny that has to be submitted through to the Administrative Office of Illinois Courts. If they approve our grant funds, if the grant application is approved, we will receive the funds and we have to spend the money on what was approved by the Administrative Office, not a penny more. If we spend less than what we have been approved for, we have to send the money back, is my understanding. We cannot ask for a change in what we have been approved for. So this is actually more than just what Mr. Ross indicated. That app was approved by the Administrative Office to upgrade the technology for all users of the court system, civil, criminal, and otherwise. It is upgrading computers in the jail to allow for Zoom court. It is also used for psychiatric evaluations that are done by Zoom. It's going to be used to upgrade more computers and technology in the state's attorney's office. In the public defender's office, in the probation office, we are making it easier for offenders who are placed on court supervision, conditional discharge, or probation to access other counties as well as our own county here remotely through, you'll see the little stand outside the probation office right now. So these items have already been approved by the AOIC. They gave us the money. We have to spend the money on the items exactly to a T or send the money back. We have received the money electronically, so it's been put into the fund. What we don't have is expenditure. I don't have the ability to actually expend the funds without you all, and I would have done it sooner, but this comes in after the budget year has already been approved. So, and I have to spend it within a certain amount of time. So, and show proof of those expenditures to the AOIC. So it is kind of everybody's looking over everybody's shoulder, making sure we're doing what we're supposed to be doing according to the grant.
So what's your time frame to spend it in?
I think we have to report back by July.
So they give you 6 months to spend it, basically?
Yes, or less, depending on, we just received the money in April. We had to turn it in January. It got approved, I believe, late February. We received the funds from the state of Illinois electronically, I believe, in April.
Late March or early April.
Yeah, late March or early April. But it wasn't enough time to get this back before the board to get approved for an emergency expenditure. So that's why it's being brought this time.
So here's a suggestion. When this is the third installment. I don't know what the last ones were, year 2 and year 1. But if you know that you're going to be applying for a grant, put that in your expenditure line. That way we're not amending a budget mid-year. And that way you've got the budget expense there. Because it kind of starts, and I understand the predicament that you're put in by the AOC, but in the same breath, we're amending a budget that is, or we're looking to amend a budget that is outside the parameters of budget amendment. So you can amend on personnel and emergency.
My hesitation with doing it that way is to put down a number that I don't know what we're gonna apply for. The first year that we applied for the grant, I believe it was almost $130,000 grants that we got. I think last year it was close to $80,000 of equipment that we applied for. And then this year it was a little over $40,000, I believe it's going down. But I don't know what we're going to need in order to upgrade the technology until we get everything in. And that's part of the problem. Our first two tech grant equipment, if you look at all the monitors in this courtroom, they were just put in March of this year from 2 years ago and the year before. That was two separate grants. So now it's like we have to be able to know what we have, what we're using, and there's no way for me to predict how much to expect or how much to spend. And it makes me a little nervous that that would be not exactly clear for people who are looking at the budget to see, and it may be questioned in the future, and I'm not in a position to make anybody question anything. I'm just trying to do it the way the law requires.
There's also an exact offset.
Yeah, it is an exact offset.
It's an exact offset.
Yeah.
It's just, that's my concern of budgets and amendments.
I understand. If I could do it a different way, I would absolutely do it. I would ask them to move the grant period to a different period because most counties do run January to December. They stick it in August or October and make it due January.
Any more questions for Judge, the board, myself? Concerns? Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Hearing none, roll call, please.
Hamley?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
Bame?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
Fernhammer? Yes. Hardy?
Yes.
Keenan?
Yes.
Mayhaw?
Yes.
Morse?
Yes.
Nelson? Yes. Orman?
No.
Ross?
Yes.
Shuff?
Yes.
Tate?
Yes.
Wallace? Williams?
Yes.
Motion passes 19 yes, 1 no, Orman.
Yeah. Thank you. So item 12 is the discussion and vote to approve the resolution authorizing execution and amendment of the downstate operating assistance agreement. Does everybody have that? I believe it's called the vote.
You already passed the grant. This is something the state just added that's never had to be signed to apply for the grant. We got it after you all approved it, and so it's just an addition.
Has everybody seen it? It's at the very top, is Appendix 2, resolution authorizing execution and amendment of downstate operating assistance. Is there a motion to approve? Julie makes a motion to approve. Is there a second? Tim Brown makes a second. Any questions before I read it? This is just one page, won't take long. Whereas the provision of public transit service is essential to the people of Illinois, and whereas the Downstate Public Transportation Act authorizes the state of Illinois, acting by and through the Department of Transportation, to make funds available to assist the development and operation of public transportation systems, and whereas awards for said funds will impose certain obligations upon Shelby County, including provisions by its own local share of funds necessary to cover costs not covered by funds provided under the Downstate Public Transportation Act. Now therefore let it be resolved by the governing board of Shelby County, Section 1, that the county board chairman of Shelby County enter the Downstate Public Transportation Operating Assistance Agreement with the state of Illinois and amend such agreement, if necessary, for fiscal year 2025, in order to obtain assistance under the provisions of the Act. Section 2. That the county board chairman of Shelby County is hereby authorized and directed to execute the agreement or its amendments on behalf of Shelby County for such assistance for the fiscal year 25. Section 3. That the county board chairman of Shelby County is hereby authorized to provide such information and file such documents as may be required to perform the agreement and to request and receive the funding for fiscal year 25. Section 4. That while participating in said operating assistance program, the Shelby County shall still provide all required local matching funding. Any other discussions or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. This time we'll skip straight to item 19.
This one. About
15.
You have 15?
15. 15, discussion and vote to approve the lease agreement between CEFS and Shelby County for the maintenance facility located at 1505 West South 1st Street in Shelbyville from July 1st to 2024 through January 30th of 2029. It's a 5-year lease. A motion to approve. Julie makes the motion. Is there a second? Martha seconds the motion. Any discussions on the lease between CEFS and the county? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries to lease to CEFS. Now we'll skip to item 19. Discussion and vote to approve resolution authorizing the sale of the county farm and all necessary steps to effectuate the sale of the county farm. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion to approve the resolution as presented.
Chairman makes the motion to approve. Is there a second?
You just get to skip?
Skip.
Second is by Mark. Discussion.
Skip 16,
Yeah.
17, 18.
If we sell the farm, we never get it back.
Right.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or the other. Thank you, Tim.
You've also got potential opportunities down the road if we hold on to that piece of land. One thing I heard was a few years ago, a landfill was explored. It was eventually decided not to move ahead with the project. But that's just one example of an opportunity that we lose if we sell the farm. If you think we're fighting now, and we sell that farm and have $2 million, we're going to fight like cats and dogs over that. This argument's always put forth that we'll seal it up in a certificate of deposit, not spend it, but I just don't buy that. I think we're foregoing future opportunities. A good example of that would be a power line that recently went through the Mowequa-Macon area. Huge payout on that to the landowners. That's another possibility. You got the guy in Findlay, the regenerative life farm. Give him 20 acres of it. Let him see what he can do growing vegetables, maybe using labor from Taylorville prison, maybe Shelby County prisoners, maybe people from Shelby County Community Services. One more thing. Since I was a teenager, I've listened to comparisons of the value of farmland versus certificate of deposits. Cash continues to deflate. Dirt continues to inflate.
Right. That's right.
You take the youngest person in here. When they're dead and gone, 100 years after they're dead and gone, that farm can still be producing revenue for this county. And I've seen families make this mistake. They never sell the farm. It's not a good idea. You've got all kinds of potential opportunities down the road if you hold on to it. If we sell it, convert it to cash, I think we'll squander the cash. And I've seen families do the same thing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Comments? Carol?
Jeremy, is this the same resolution that you brought up on September the 11th at a farm meeting?
It is similar, it's not exactly the same. My apologies, may I
Please.
answer the question?
All conversations need to be recognized.
My apologies.
Jeremy?
It is very similar, it is not exactly the same.
And that one was tabled at the farm meeting.
Committee.
That was at the committee meeting, yes. It was tabled and seconded, and the 4 committee members who were there all agreed to it. So now we're bringing this resolution up again. Could I ask a question of the gallery?
No, this is a debate of the board. So, I've had this brought to my attention, we're circumventing, or Jeremy has circumvented the committee by bringing this up. One, it's happened year over year over year, where every individual board member has an absolute right to bring any business to the board that they see fit. So, with that said, any individual board member can put business on here that they would choose to. The next part of that is, I've been confronted, well, why didn't the committee approve this? Why didn't this run to the committee? And here's the honoring part. I could stack the committee, it could pass through the committee in a heartbeat, and then come right to the board. So, that committee in itself is a managerial committee. So it's an opinionated thing. Other committees are more geared towards what is, statutorily required, or this is a forming function of oversight, or whatever it should be. So, in a roundabout way, the argument of the committee, it can be debunked pretty quick. So, Carol.
Okay, well, as chairman of that farm committee, I was not informed that this was going to be on the agenda. I would think that there could be some conversations. I don't know if Jeremy had a conversation with the other 2 members of the committee and decided to put it on, but I would think as chairperson that he would have said something to me, at least Monday night when we were together. I think that's lack of communication and lack of respect for me as chairperson of that committee.
Questions or comments? Jeremy.
Mr. Chairman, there were a couple of points that I wanted to lead off with discussion. I would like to stray from that very momentarily and address a couple of things that my respected colleague, Mr. Brown, said.
Jeremy.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
say.
Yes, sir.
I have 1950, if you would recognize the Sean Royston, thank you. Go ahead, Jeremy.
The fighting over money, I would ask just, I suppose, a rhetorical question. We haven't fought over the ARPA money. We got $4.2 million approximately in ARPA money. We still have over half of that is in the budget, hasn't been spent. Some of it's been allocated, but that money even has a sunset date on it, if I remember correctly. And so if we're not fighting over that, I would think that we also would not fight over another sudden influx. This board actually has a history of not fighting over money, which is excellent. The power line, it could be power line, could be wind farm, solar farm, something like that. I don't know if anybody that I work with is in the room. If not, I might contend I might be on more acres every year than anybody else in the room. And less than 1% of the fields that I'm in have power lines running through them or things like those. I'm in some that do, but that's probably going to be a less than 1% idea. And I understand if a sale is effectuated, it goes from less than 1 to 0. But we also have a power line already that we've approved to go through. Your less than 1% chance of bringing in another something like that went to 0 as soon as we put that in, because you're basically 0 chance of bringing a second thing through, a second power line. There's already one going through. They're not going to bring a second one through. So the idea of revenue coming in from a second thing like that is insignificant, in my opinion. I would contend that if such an occurrence were to happen, another power line or something that would bring additional revenue, that kind of business opportunity, that kind of profit opportunity would be best left in the hands of private citizens rather than in the hands of the government. Also, I would address the timing. That's another point that I wanted to bring up, was the timing of the resolution. I think Ms. Cole brought that up. One of the best times of year to part with farm ground is that maybe late July, August, possibly into early September kind of time frame. And if you're going to part with tillable acres of farm ground, there's a process. In the resolution, you'll find things like an appraisal, a survey, title work, etc. Those are all parts and pieces of the process, and in order to get those accomplished by the most ideal season in which to sell property, that brings about this timing right now to bring this option to the board to see if we want to pursue that.
Jeremy, did you get advised by legal counsel with this? Did anybody look this over, or is this something that you made up yourself?
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yes, I did. I took this to our legal counsel twice. I took it last, I think it was August, prior to the September date that was mentioned earlier. I also took it to legal counsel recently to make sure that all of the necessary components for the effectuation of a sale are included, and also that everything in it was entirely legal.
Seems how we have something on this agenda that we've skipped over about our current state's attorney, who is going to be no longer our state's attorney as of 4 o'clock tomorrow evening. Why would we do this now and not give it to the person that's going into that office and let them look at it? If it's fine with him and if it's fine with her, then we can go forward with it. But why would you take somebody's opinion that is no longer here, that has probably never ever done anything like this, and go with it when you're going to have a person in that office after, I don't know, 4:01 tomorrow? Why are we in such a big hurry to push this through? And all these people sitting here, everybody knows why they're here. They're listening to this. And if we've got to sell this, why do you want to do it this way? Why don't you put it on the ballot and let the taxpayers But why wouldn't you put it on the ballot? The people who elect us sitting here, let them speak about the future of the farm.
Okay.
I'm not done. I seriously doubt anyone sitting on this board has any knowledge, any legal knowledge of how this should proceed. I don't think there's any attorneys here. There's some people that can state ILCSs and read them to you. But I think that some of us have been reading the ILCSs too. And I think there could be some problems. That's why I think rather than push this through and vote on it tonight, it needs to be given to the new state's attorney, and it's my understanding she's going to have help from another county coming in to help her get started. And let's listen to what they have to say rather than try to hurry up and push this through, because it really does not look very good.
So let me start out with the attorney part. Attorneys can render opinions on the legality of an action. Okay. So the term of sale or seller conveyed is completely in black and white, it's one-liner in statute. And then ILCS 1049.2 is 2 paragraphs, a point 1 and point 2. So both of them are there. And an attorney will tell you, yes, you could activate on both of them because they're there. Now, as we have discussed for 4 years now, the constitutionality of this whole situation, you start to eliminate your abilities on each one of them that's listed in 1049.2. So, interestingly enough, 1049.1 is a lease of not more than 99 years and it requires a majority vote of the board. Point 2 is a 5-year maximum lease with a 3/4 vote of the board. Both of them have lease in it. Both of them give the capability to lease. Matter of fact, just happens to be, item 15 is a lease agreement between CEFS and Shelby County. And I have said numerous times that public transit is the classic example of how we use public funds and goods and financial capabilities to provide a private entity the ability to provide a public purpose. Not a private entity to bring a private purpose, private entity, public purpose. That is a classic example. So, 1049.1 gives capability to lease. 1049.2 gives capability to lease. Now, flip to crop share and custom farm. One and the same. Functionally, they're one and the same. One is 100% the county, 100% income and expense. The other is crop share, so you have 50% in, 50% out. So fundamentally and functionally they're the same. So you can apply the same rules to each one of them equally. The custom farm and crop share do not meet the requirements of the Investments Act. That's right up front. Right up front. It doesn't matter if it's in the treasurer's office with the county's resolution or if it's right out of the state statutes of the Investments Act. It does not meet any of those criteria. However, referencing the comments made earlier about the money being put into an interest-bearing account, those are indeed 5 legal ways to invest money. So, if we can't get past the Investments Act, oh, and by the way, on 1049.1 and 2, the authority to lease is not circumvented the 1974 and 73 AG opinions about leasing to a farmer for a private purpose. Those were rendered on in 74, 75, 73, somewhere in there. So therefore, if 1049.1 has been rendered on, 1049.2 falls in the same category. It's lease. So those have been rendered on. And I really appreciate the words of wisdom that we get through emails and stuff like that about pointing out that, we can do this thing through this statute, and we don't have the right to declare something unconstitutional. The convenient part is, we didn't declare it unconstitutional. The AG did back in the 70s. So, there you have it. So we didn't declare it unconstitutional, the AG did.
Mr. Chairman, the House is not in order.
Mr. Chair, yes, please.
So we did not declare it unconstitutional. The AG did that for us, to opinions. The state has set forth Investments Act, which tells us how to invest money. Engaging in a private business, i.e. farmers, doesn't meet the criteria of investments. So, all of the functionality of it makes 1049-2 moot. Absolutely. Oh, and by the way, there was reports of the income being constituted as public purpose. That was struck out of the language before it hit the Senate floor. When it hit the Senate floor, there was no such language in there, and the senators knew it, that the public purpose, or the generating of income was not public purpose, which goes back to the Department of Revenue when we had the application of the P300 tax form for tax exemption on the farm ground under 1049.2 in a custom farm situation, and then denied tax exemption. Denied tax exemption is by default no public purpose.
Put it on the ballot. Yes.
Now, putting it on the ballot, that's the next point I made a note of. And it's quite interesting that we have a board of 22 that are elected of 2,000 people districts, roughly give or take. And the board has a fiduciary responsibility to manage the funds and the properties of the county. If we took everything to a ballot, the only reason why it's a big sticking point is because not everybody wants to admit and understand the constitutionality and the statutory construction. And go through the
You're good at it, though.
We have an attorney present.
You may have an attorney present.
And you don't, so why are you doing this?
Yeah. Yes.
Please, quiet. So, we've had 4 years of discussion. The 1049.2 did not change anything. So, my vote is to end it and be done with it, move the funds into a legal investment.
No.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm going to switch gears just a little bit. I agree with Bobby, but now I'm going to express on the business side of things. Because I heard it mentioned by several members of the public body. You take approximately $2 million what this ground would sell for, and you put it in an interest-bearing account, which, if you don't mind me asking, Erica, what is the current rate?
4.5 on a 3-year.
I couldn't hear her, please. Everybody be quiet.
Erica, what's the interest rates?
4.5 on a 3-year.
So, go ahead, Mark.
We don't get anything else.
I figured only on a 4%, easy to figure. It's a little more than that. That's $40,000 a year.
So what are you going to make on profit?
Okay, we're getting to it. Okay. In the past, when this ground was leased out at about $200 an acre, I realized cash rents have went up since then. My question first to you is, how many of you own farm ground?
More than you think.
How many of you are the opinion that it should not be sold?
Do you sell your farm ground?
You sell them yours, we'll keep ours.
Yeah.
What did that farm make?
How many of you, how many people,
Point of order, Mr. Chairman, please.
What did it generate? Be quiet, guys. Let Mark talk.
how many people that sell farm ground after they receive the funds from the sale, still have an income from that farm ground.
What?
Can you re-ask that, please? I couldn't hear it.
From the farm ground, directly or indirectly, because I can say indirectly, yes.
It's directly from it. The county does, because we still receive taxes. When we farm it ourselves, we have to pay those taxes. Erica, again, can I ask a question? What is the per acre taxes?
Oh, I don't know.
Is
The
total-
taxes on the farm were just over 8,000.
But
200.
that was with fees.
Approximately $40 plus per acre. I'm sorry.
When if the taxes had been paid on time, it was like $6,780.
I was trying to figure out what the,
That's what it was.
They'll go up this year.
anyway. Approximately $40 plus an acre. And year in and year out, you're still gonna get $40 per acre. Plus the interest.
You don't go.
But you're gonna get 88,000. You're gonna generate right now $88,000 a year.
Not to piss it away.
By the time you pay any inputs, you are not going to be making $88,000 a year in farming income. None of us farmers receive, we have to pay taxes. We do not receive any other income. We have to pay out and pay the taxes. We as the county still receive an income because someone else is paying those taxes. So from a business sense, it's not the same as being a farmer, being the county.
It's my turn.
Go ahead.
I move to table this.
I'll second.
Motion tables, Teresa, seconded by Tim. All in favor, say what?
No, I want it roll call.
Okay, roll call.
Amling,
No.
Bennett,
No.
Bain,
Yes?
Brown,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
Fernhaber. No. Hardy,
No.
Keenan.
No.
Marks,
Yes.
thank you. Mayhall,
Yes.
Morse,
Yes.
Nelson,
No.
Orman,
No.
Ross,
No.
Shuff,
No.
Tate,
No.
Wallace,
Yes.
Williams.
No.
Motion to table fails, 8 ayes, 11 nays.
Mr. Chairman, we return to discussion.
Better call vote.
I'd like to return to discussion, if you don't mind.
Okay, we'll turn to discussion.
May I have the floor?
Jerry.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to kind of put what Mr. Bennett said in some different words.
If you guys are going to speak over the speaker, it's going to be hard for everybody else to hear.
Stand up and turn around and face
To the board.
How
And we are having a discussion of the board. Next person to talk out of line, I will call for the vote for removal. I told you once at the beginning of the meeting, next person to talk out of line will get called for removal. This is a discussion of the board. Jeremy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think what Mr. Bennett was trying to say was, first of all, when you part with property, you can take the principle of the sale and to put some numbers to it as this is a business decision. To put some numbers to it, I understand that the land out there is likely to bring, on the low range, between $9,000 and $11,000 an acre. Again, that's low range, could be higher. So I split for my own math, my own easy, basic, simple, big round number math, 200 tillable acres. I know it's like 196.2 or 7, but about 200 tillable acres. And that doesn't even include the 40 acres of timberland, because I wanted a very conservative estimate. But at 200 tillable acres, times about $10,000 an acre. I just split the low range of 9 to 11 to be fair. That's $2 million, and that's about the number that Mr. Bennett gave. And I also want to say that any investment is in the purview of the treasurer's office. I don't want to overstep my bounds or speak out of turn, but she gave the number of 4.5%, 2 million at 4.5%. I believe that comes to 90,000, because 5% would be 100,000. So 90,000 is a fair, actually a conservative estimation. That is one stream of revenue. And when you compare other options, like for instance the wheat crop that was sold last year, it net profited the county about 55,000.
What about the year before?
And when yourself and Vice Chair Bennett were on the farm committee, an earlier version of this board's farm committee, I believe you were forecasting the possibility of a corn crop this year that might net profit the county about 30 to 50,000, depending on the variables associated with farming, like input prices and grain prices and weather and et cetera. And so when you compare the 90 to the 55 or the 30 to 50, the 90 is simply a better number. If money is good and any money is money, then I would think that more would be better. And so we have the option by approving this resolution to have more of a good thing. Okay.
Let me pause you for a second.
Sure, but I got two more to come back there. So.
All right. Go ahead.
Okay. Also, Mr. Bennett hit on a very, very important point with the property taxes. Usually when a private citizen, private person, private landowner sells property, all they have is the principal from the sale. However, since we are the public body, we are a taxing district, whoever purchases that property is going to pay property taxes on it, and that'll be a second stream of revenue. So the taxes, which I think in 22 were just shy of $7,000, and now I'm hearing they'll be about 8. So you can add, sounds like somewhere around $7,000 or $8,000 to the 90. When a private person sells property, they're no longer, or not no longer, they never were and they never will be the beneficiary of the tax revenue. But when the public body does it, the property goes back on the tax rolls. It adds to the revenue and creates a second stream of income. Third, it is very likely, I'd say most likely, that a farmer is probably going to purchase the property, grow a crop, sell grain, create a revenue for themselves, and they'll pay income tax on their profit. And the income tax dollars and cents will trickle down to the pertinent taxing districts, including the county, a third stream of revenue. So, and I don't know what that's going to amount to. It's going to depend on all the farming variables again for them, but that's a third stream of revenue, and you're probably looking at closer to 100,000 rather than 30 to 50 for a corn crop this year or 55 for a wheat crop last year. So the business decision, the cold hard raw numbers make this a better business decision.
So, following up with some things that we have not talked about, if we recall, the wages in this county are rising. They were covered by ARPA. They are no longer covered by ARPA, so they will come out of the general fund eventually. And we've already been warned that in 25 we will be insolvent. However, if we start generating a revenue stream in a legal fashion that we know is 110% legal through cash and investments, we can start to stretch out that 2025 benchmark. Maybe 5 years, maybe 2 years, I don't know. But the interest itself is going to stretch out that I believe a $336,000 increase after ARPA goes out. So that's just one part of it. The other is there's another thing that the public has made very big concern of, and that is the board is just going to sell it so they have some friend of theirs that wants to buy it. Well, in terms of any sealed bid sale, no one knows what the bids are until they're opened in a public meeting. So I don't know how anybody is going to manipulate a sealed bid sale. It's never been a problem with the sheriff on squad cars or speed signs or any other thing of the nature. So that, I just wanted to debunk that and touch on that just a shade before. I got to
So, if this was a sealed bid and people bid on it, if a Chinese national bid on it, would he get it?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I can answer that question. The answer to that question is no, and that is because there is a paragraph in the resolution that says, I would like to read it because I don't want to misquote it. It's the next to last, be it further resolved, Shelby County reserves the right to refuse any and all bids, including but not limited to those offered by foreign investors concerning the sale of the county farm. So we will reserve the right to make that decision. And it is specifically enumerated in here that we can refuse the bid from a foreign investor.
I want to reiterate, if we sell this, we never get it back. I'd also like to state that all of us on this board are supposed to use our conscience, our own thoughts, and the views of our constituents when we decide how we vote. In my district, I've never had one constituent come up to me lathered up saying, we got to sell the farm. Not one. Not one. I've been on this board for 1.5 years now. So that's another thing to consider here. And lastly, I hear a lot about public use, public purpose. You know, another idea. You've got a lot of young, struggling farmers out there. Take this land, set some parameters. If the going rental rate in Shelby County is $250 an acre, let's rent it out to somebody for $175 an acre. Somebody who's younger. Maybe somebody who doesn't farm half the county that has less than 500 acres or less than 1,000 acres. That would be public purpose, giving a young farmer trying to start out something to start with. Again, you sell this, you're never getting it back. That's right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Just bear with me since I wrote it all out. I was called by a Shelby County voter from my district yesterday regarding the conversation that took place with a board member Tuesday evening. According to my discussion, the board member stated that several board members have been discussing and working on this farm sale and have decided the farm needs sold. The member also indicated the conversation about the farm has gone on too long and has prevented the board from working on more important items. It was relayed to me that the board member stated that this board's responsibility to sell the farm to prevent future board members from continuing illegal activity by farming the ground. There was a mention of the benefit of the county to include multiple income streams from CD interest, property tax, the new owner, income tax on harvested crops, and taxes from the farm sale itself. Having several board members agree to this in advance may not be illegal, but I question the ethics of this discussion. CD income is variable and historically low and provides no guarantee of consistent returns, and I am not aware of a local income tax on the crops or taxes at the sale of the property that would benefit this county. The farm was purchased for less than $10,000 and proceeds could be more than $2 million. I spoke to the Illinois Department of Revenue several months ago to ask about capital gains, and the gentleman I spoke to could not give me a definitive answer on the proceeds being exempt from state taxes and stated it would be worthwhile in providing their agency more details to make a decision. If deemed not to be tax exempt, it could cost the county more than $200,000 in capital gains tax.
Yep.
This board has not been provided a legal opinion on the legality of farming or the legal terms of selling real property. We were all sent an opinion today from Mr. Finks in an email that raises some questions about liability. We have heard from some board members on their opinions and interpretation of the law and the Constitution. Some think it's legal to farm, and some don't, which has landed us in a contentious 18 months. None of us on this board are qualified to make legal determination, and our role isn't to determine what is constitutional or legal. We do have the responsibility to seek legal advice and base decisions on that guidance, or let the courts tell us what is legal and not rush to sell a treasured part of this county history unnecessarily. We can end the speculation of legality and remove this contentious topic in which no other county has had to endure. Earlier, we were supposed to approve a state's attorney and anticipated that we will. To be properly informed, allow for a legal review, get tax guidance from the Department of Revenue, and request that a new state's attorney file a motion for declaratory judgment, I make a motion to table this resolution. It's in light of new information, so it's a table to motion to reconsider.
What was the new information?
I can give it to you. Everything I just read in here about taxation and legality.
Right. So you're
hold on a second, it's still my turn. You don't have any information whatsoever that says this is tax exempt. You did not speak to the Department of Revenue. You do not have anything in writing. They have told me that there's potential for this to be a taxable event. That is completely fiscally irresponsible to pursue in any other manner.
So if the non-tax exemption incites capital gains, then it should incite income tax as well.
I'm not sure that the one affects the other. The situation you're talking about sale, right? And I'm seeking for us to get a declaratory judgment from a new state's attorney. That's not been taking place. We've not asked for legal relief in this.
Right.
We've not asked for an opinion. I just heard a bunch of bloviated conversations over the past 18 months about opinions. We don't have legal provisions on this.
Hold on, Jerry. So it's been stated that it's been a contentious point of issue for 18 months. In reality, it's been 48 months. And there was board members of years past that have done days and weeks of research. Matter of fact, I would contend that any of the members that are in opposition to the sale tonight have done anything to put anything on the table that is legal. Because if you go back all the way for the last year and a half, we have had discussions about nonprofits, we have had discussions about multitude different avenues to go. And not a single one of them can meet the muster of all the criteria it takes to operate a farm. Whether it's cash lease, crop share, or custom farm. None of them meet the criteria of everything. So, when it comes to the taxes though, and I go back to the taxes in the capital gains. If they're saying that we cannot get tax exemption, which would cause capital gains on the sale of the property, then that would mean that it would only be logical that a income generated off of a non-tax exempt parcel would also be taxable income tax. Now, we have had conversations with auditors that they cannot find anywhere where the income generated off the ground is taxable. So income tax, they cannot find where we would have to pay income tax on that. So making the comparison, and just a quick analysis, the capital gains we would be exempt from because we are a governmental body.
You have that in writing? Because Department of Revenue told me completely opposite of what you're saying. And I think that they're the ones that make that decision.
Very possible.
So you want to take a $200,000 gamble. You want to take a $200,000 gamble as opposed to just pausing this for now to wait till we get some definitive answers. There's no rush. Just because you say we can't farm doesn't mean we have to sell. One doesn't equal the other. There's no reason. Pause. Give it another month, give it 2 months.
Give it 40 years.
Okay, I'm talking about this board. The previous time, that doesn't matter. Right? This is the here and the now. We're making decisions. The notion that somehow we're supposed to prevent future boards from making illegal decisions, come on. Come on. There is no rush to this just because you don't think we can farm it, right? We don't have a judgment that says that. Let a new state's attorney file a declaratory judgment, and if it comes back and it states, fine, we can't farm it, we have to accept that. And that's fine. But we don't have to rush to that judgment today. You denied my motion to reconsider table.
I didn't know your motion was failing in a second so far.
I second it.
Second by Teresa. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No, roll call.
Roll call.
Again. And everybody listen to what Tad just said when you vote.
No reason to rush it.
Amling.
No.
Bennett.
No.
Bain.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
Edwards.
Yes.
Fernhaber.
No.
Hardy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Keenan.
No.
Marks.
Yes.
Mayhaw.
Yes.
Morse.
Yes.
Nelson.
No.
Orman.
No.
Ross.
No.
Shuff.
No.
Tate.
No.
Wallace.
Yes.
Williams.
No.
Motion to table fails. 9 ayes to 10. No. Yeah, 10 nays.
Back to discussion, Margaret.
I would like to make a request that when I make my vote, that I don't have to be told I suck by people in the public, please.
Not say that. Nobody said that.
Yes.
Nobody said
Nobody
that.
said that.
I had Carol.
Nobody said that.
You guys make comments every time.
Okay, if we're talking about this resolution, the one about the sealed bids, I oppose to that because the only way this farm, if it's sold, the only way this farm is going to bring what it's worth is a live auction. And everybody's there, everybody gets to bid on it. That's the only fair way to make sure that it brings what it's worth. Sealed bids will not do that. And I've been in more land auctions than probably a lot of people in this room.
It's interesting that also, Jeremy.
Mr. Chairman, at the beginning of this meeting, you gave a warning. I'm going to ask you to start acting on that warning.
I'm not ready to call a vote. Does anybody have any discussion?
No, that was just one, Mr. Chairman. That was just a comment before I had, in response to some concerns that were brought up, I did not ask for it in writing, but I did ask legal counsel if the sale of the farm would be subject to capital gains.
No.
And the
I
answer,
can't hear, guys. I can't hear.
and the answer I was given was no. It would not be subject to capital gains, the same as we would not be subject to property tax if we were using the property for a tax exempt purpose. And we don't know about the income tax. We've asked, and as far as I know, there's been no definitive answer on the income tax. So also, as far as how long the board has struggled with this matter, it has been since February of 2020 that the board has struggled with this issue. And I have, if you will indulge me, a very brief visual aid, Mr. Chairman. The county has, if I'm correct, about a $7 million budget, general fund budget. Yeah. And so 10% of that $7 million would be $700,000. 1% would be $70,000. So if the wheat farm sale, what's that?
1%?
1% would be 70.
That's 10%.
No, 700 would be 10%.
It's math. 700 would be 10%.
700 would be 10% of the budget, 700,000.
I thought you said 1%.
1% would be 70.
Okay, go ahead.
My math's right, 1% of 7 million is 70,000.
Jeremy, if you don't have something to write,
Please, please, it's time. It's time, Mr. Chairman, it's time.
It's time.
Who was it?
Jake.
Motion to have
Because this is
Jake.
a crock of shit.
let's just all vote.
Motion to have Jake moved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
No.
All raise your hand.
Let him speak his piece.
Mr. Chairman, might I continue, please? Yep, sure is. Might I continue? So, if the sale of the wheat crop last year was about 55,000 profit, that would be less than that 70,000 1%. If the net profit to the county from a forecasted corn crop of $30,000 to $50,000 this year, which the farm committee was researching when you were on it, that would be less than 1%. So, for my poor man's visual aid, I took an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and cut it down to 10 inches because it was easier to do the math off of 10 inches than 11. And I took, if I figured this accounts for a $7 million budget, I wanted to know how much about $50,000, $55,000 would be. Okay. 1% of the 10-inch piece of paper, which is $70,000, which is more than the farm has been bringing with the crop, is this. This is more than the farm. This is more than the farm. We spend this much time on this. This is policy, this is payroll, this is squad cars for the sheriff's department, this is equipment for the highway department, building and maintaining roads and bridges, this is the courthouse, this is all of that. And we spend what seems like this much time on this. And this is more than the farm. I want to make that clear. This is more than the farm. But I couldn't cut something that small. I couldn't cut something that small.
What do you do? You illustrate the comparison of the historical revenues versus the budget.
So we often, I believe, we focus on this so much, it is done at the expense of a lot of this. If we would work on this and not this, this would probably go a lot more smoothly. And we have the opportunity to make county business go a lot more smoothly by increasing, Mr. Chairman, by increasing this. Because this does not quite account for all that would come in from all of the revenues from a sale of the farm. So we go from less than this to more than this. And it's all legal. Aren't any questions about the legality of selling or the investments that you mentioned earlier that are authorized in the Investment Act. And it removes the issue from our plate and we can move on with county business. I'm just asking that we improve this so that we can improve this too.
I want to reiterate what Tim said about the people who elected us to sit here and what those people want us to do while we're sitting here. And you have to go out then and look at these people who elected you, and look them in the eye, and let them know how you vote. I'm not done. I'm not done. I don't need any more of his kindergarten antics because I know how to do math and I can figure things out. You can hold this piece of paper up and this piece of paper up, but this board has a responsibility to do what they were elected to do. And once again, I don't know why it has to be done tonight, but why can't we have Ruth, when she is seated, sit down and look at everything that supposedly, if it's okay, it's okay. There are other issues about when we vote for this. What does it take to make this right tonight? Is it a majority? Is it 2/3? Is it 3/4? I think a lot of people have been looking at things like that. Have you sought legal opinion about it, if we vote tonight, how it has to pass? Is it just a simple majority? Is that in writing somewhere? Because we can't find it anywhere.
Where's the statute?
Where's the statute?
Tim said you really have something to say
I'd like to see
On the same extent that Teresa talks about, I realize maybe more of her constituents are here, or a few of mine are here. But I've had a lot of constituents ask me why we're spending so much time with this, and they disagree. But they are not going to show their faces here because they are sick and tired of those that do speak up being ridiculed over and over, and unless it meets the opposite opinion, they are badgered to death, and so they are not here, and they never will be. So I take in consideration that my rural area mostly is not in favor of this continuing. Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah.
I too, I'd like to thank you, Tim, for speaking up. My point is, the history that's involved with the farm, and the way I look at it, it's probably one of the most humane things that the board has ever done in its history, is to take care of the people that couldn't take care of themselves. I realize now there's no need for it, but in selling it, you're doing away with all that. It's just as bad as whenever they had the riots and they're pulling down statues. I mean, this is part of our history. We ought to be stewards of it and take care of it and figure out how to make it work, not get rid of it. Because as a fourth generation farmer, you get rid of the ground, you don't farm. And we need to keep the ground.
Mr. Chairman.
Tell the people that aren't, of course, they aren't farms.
I thought the history point might come up, and I appreciate that Mr. Chairman, would you please?
I'd ask politely and kindly for the same respect that you give for Carol, Teresa, Tim, Tad, Lori, Mark, Julie, myself, to everybody on the board equally. So if you're going to talk over Jeremy or myself, feel free to talk over Carol.
Or how about we just talk to down?
But I've asked that nobody talks over anybody. Keep your voices down, be quiet, because the board is having a conversation here. Continue, Jeremy.
So as a student of history, I appreciate the history point. And I've done a little research into the history of the farm and the things that took place out there. Mr. Chairman, to the gallery, please. The poor farm was, I
can't see who's talking.
Ms. Bain.
I can talk to myself.
It's just hard to hear. Respectfully, it's hard to hear.
Everybody's talking over the
I will speak up.
Okay.
So on the history of the farm, I've done a little research myself. I don't claim to be the historical expert on the poor farms that Ms. Cole is, and I appreciate that. However, during the first year of the poor farm, and I understand that's exactly 1 year, I don't even remember all of the horrible things that I read about what went on out there. I recall one specific example. A young boy's feet and legs were frostbitten to the point they could not be recognized. living conditions were terrible, abysmal, horrific. And I know that after that person who was in charge of management out there was dismissed, conditions did improve. And actually, 13 years later, there was a report issued to the General Assembly on the poor farm, and it stated things had improved some, but not much. And they went on to say that the old house for the insane, along with all its abominations, remained. It was abominable after things improved. They improved up to a status of abominable. I don't know what's worse than that, but it was worse before. The program, which first brought the property into the county hands, went away, and the purpose for the county owning the land also went away. And I am asking that 50 years later, 50-some years later, that we put the property back into the private hands, back into private hands like it came from, because the purpose for ever owning it went away. The history is important, but the history is learned, it is remembered, it is processed. You glean something from it and you pass it on. The history of the poor farm, the good, the bad, and the indifferent, are not tied to whose name is on the title. If the farm is sold 1,000 times, the history still happened. It's still important. It can be learned and remembered and taught. And the history is not tied to growing wheat, corn, and beans. The history is a lesson that we can learn even if the property were parted with.
Chairman, if history is so important, we have history here who live there.
Call the vote here. I can't hear it.
If it's that important,
I can't hear it.
let him talk about it.
I can't hear the board talk.
I'm just saying, if it's that important, Jeremy, if it's that important for history, let him talk. Hey, you don't belong here.
How come the board talk and I can't hear the board member?
Bobby, he said history is important, and we have Benny Clausen who lived at the farm. That's all I'm saying.
Call
Go ahead, go, kick me out.
House is not in
So I'm going to call the vote.
Kick me out, Erica, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman,
We're going to call the vote on the
We're going to vote on something.
Why is it
You got a disgrace.
We're going to vote on this.
Jeremy wants to act like a history expert. We got someone that lived there, and our families that ran it.
Mr. Chairman, please remove some of these disruptive influences from the meeting.
I don't like it now.
Mr. Chairman, please remove. Mr. Chairman, it's time. Again, it's time.
So we're going to take a roll call vote?
No, we can't vote on this resolution until we go through this stuff. So you're going to leave on here that it's sealed bids?
Yes. That's
No,
not.
that's not.
Vote no, yes. On the resolution.
So we can't change anything on this resolution before it's voted on? Isn't that usually what happens? You go through it and you go, no, I don't like how that sounds, or that's not right. This needs to be changed to a live auction, not a sealed bid.
Then make a motion to amend.
Thank you, Martha. I mean, there may be some others. Does anybody look at the resolution and think that maybe some of these things aren't quite right? Yes, I'd make it. I think we need to amend this.
Take the time to look it over.
To the resolution. We need to amend it that it's a live auction, not sealed bids.
Why don't we go through it? Go through the resolution.
I mean, there's something on here about the cemetery too. I think that needs to be discussed.
With the cemetery.
Respectfully, can I ask a legal question? Since it's public ground,
Why
can
did
it be sold in a sealed bid?
Why is it gotta be tonight?
Do you know that?
Why is it gotta be tonight? Why is that tonight, Jeremy?
So you want to go through this line by line, huh?
Yes. Why not? That's what we usually do.
Table it.
Table it. Table it.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
I'm looking for the resolution.
I understand that, but this board has voted to remove Mr. Cole, yet he remains and remains a stumbling block to the progress of this board's action. The gallery is not in order. Please get the gallery in order, Mr. Chairman.
Please remove disruptive influences from the meeting, Mr. Chairman.
You'll be removing everybody. Good luck getting us to leave.
Yes, it's in the one that has 3, Mr. Chairman.
It was sent on the 7th at 2:22 p.m., Mr. Chairman.
We say we warn you, Mr. Packard wants
Oh, the girls in section.
Thank you, congratulations.
I mean, my daughter did.
girls in the sectionals.
Bob,
Yes.
can I speak while you guys are looking for this?
Go ahead.
Thank you for taking your hat.
Just so you know, I've told this before, but probably nobody's heard it. I am on this board because of the request of a dying man. I've never done that before. You know, I've never been. I want you to look at some of these pictures. There was a man, one of my 1,100 customers, was dying one day. I knew it. He had 2 months to live. And he asked, just pass those around, please.
Keep the farm.
I've never had anybody request anything from me. This dying man asked if I would, first he asked me if I'd think about something, and I said, okay, join the county building. He said, they're crazy. I thought, you gotta be nuts. All the fighting that's going on over there. And then the fighting was going on before we got here. But anyway, I'm thinking about the future as well as you guys. And if this is true about constitutionality, I'm real nervous here. If this is true about constitutionality, so I got something to read here. I remember when I was a kid in the late 60s on a Sunday drive with my folks. My mom was telling us, me and my brothers, hey, where's the poor farm, you know? And then she started telling us the story of the poor farm. It's pretty cool. I had visions of Oliver Twist. And so anyway, I just want you to know I appreciate history, and I like traditions. I often struggle with change. I was also fond, I'm sorry I wrote this and I read it 4 times. I was also fond of the late June McCabe, who devoted much time and effort to preserve and inform the people of the Shelby County history. But I also have to consider the history of what happened before Shelby County, like the development and assigning of our United States and Illinois Constitution. If you ask most people, they will tell you these documents inform us of our rights, but that's only partly true. They also inform everyone of the boundaries of the government. The U.S. Constitution uses phrases like, uses phrases like, Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging freedom of speech. And another one, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Of course, these phrases come from the First and Second Amendment. I've often heard this term lately of constitutional crisis. Have you ever heard that? And I've been hearing this for quite some time, and I wonder what they're talking about. Well, I clearly see that what we now are experiencing in the last 2 years, we have a governor of this state threatening our First and Second Amendment rights. Did you notice Pritzker told every pregnancy resource center in Illinois to watch what they say, or they will be fined or shut down. Well, luckily that was overturned. And then also in 2023, the governor outlawed 170 previously legally owned firearms. I bring those up only as examples to show that we have too many people who don't know what the Constitution says, and others who don't care what it says, and some who know exactly what it says, and yet they try to usurp it. Lots of well-intentioned people say Shelby County Farm brings in revenue, and I totally agree. It does, and we can always use that, but there are other ways to do it as well. There are a lot of good people who believe that the county farm is an asset, and I don't disagree with them, but if a little is good, then more should be better, right? Yep. So, let's just figure. Just a thought here. If every county in the U.S. had 197 acres, that's 3,143 counties, and they all had 197 acres to farm. That would be 619,000 acres that would be in the control of the government. I'm going to stop on this right real quick. Do you know what makes our country great? It's private property. Every time you walk into a building, you look at a sign, no firearms, no shoes, no shirt, no service, There's always some rules. Where is there a place to enjoy your freedoms other than private property? I mean, think about it. Private property is king. I mean, the other countries don't have private property. So
why is the
okay. What do you think? Some have suggested that we, the county board, have somebody waiting to buy the property. I must say I have no knowledge of that. Some of us on the board hope, and this is the way I feel about it, I hope that the people in this county who want to keep the farm would buy it. I'm serious. I don't want to sound absurd because I know that kind of money is not easy to come by. But what if 2 people or 10 people or 50 people, whatever it takes, could buy it? What could privateers do with the property? Could they employ the local bricklayer to help and rebuild the poor farm main house? I think that would be so cool because I see it in its rotting form. Could they make a steakhouse? Could they make a bed and breakfast? Maybe furnish it with antiques? Maybe have a working prototype of Josephine Cochran's first dishwasher. Wouldn't that be cool? I'm just thinking about it. Okay. They could farm the ground. They could use non-glyphosate, non-GMO crops, if you like. Maybe antique tractor buffs could bring their machinery and implements made right here in Shelbyville to farm and demonstrate with. Perhaps with the influx of people to the poor farm, the little country church just west of there might be able to pick up a few members in its congregation. I like to think that the poor farm could be much more beneficial than it is now, and of course, that's not without dollars, work, and risk. That picture that I showed you was the Christian County farm, poor farm. It now is in private hands. There's a guy that rents it out, and he has the last renter that went in there knocked holes in the walls. And they had dogs in there. And he's repairing this poor farm. This is a men's dorm. And he's keeping it standing. Ours is gone. See, private people do a lot better than the government at taking care of things.
Because the government doesn't listen to us.
Right? So, you want to tell the farm you're doing it. I'm talking, Jay. So, I'm not done. I'm trying to.
Wrap it up.
Well, he told me, and he was fixing this up for another person that was going to rent it from me. He's told me that the dorm that the women and children stayed in, the main house, was actually moved. The brick 2-story was moved to a subdivision. I never looked that up. So, okay, I want to wrap it up. I have no malice for those who disagree with me. I have only the best intentions for our county, although some have warned me to remember my oath and the fact that I am a professing Christian. To that I say, check. I've done that. I've made an oath to uphold the Constitution. My oath was, there was also a citizen who made a comment, if this is the hill you want to die on, so be it. Okay, I started thinking about how many of our finest have died on hills, trenches, in the skies, and water, and some in foreign prisons. I won't go on, but I'm not as fine as they are, but you should. But shouldn't we also defend the Constitution, even if it costs us? Shouldn't we defend the Constitution if it costs us?
Government by the people. What unconstitutional act for?
I'm talking, well,
What's unconstitutional that you're talking about?
if the government is in farming, is involved in business, then.
Since you wouldn't have police
Clay,
stations, wouldn't have
bring it back to you.
Okay.
wouldn't have Dory other farms.
Whoa, James, does anybody know James O'Keefe? This is it. I'm almost done.
Yes.
James O'Keefe, he's got a lot of trouble for telling the truth. He said, what's your price? What is your price? He says, if your price is not your life, then you are for sale. That's something to think about, folks.
Mr. Chairman, I call the vote.
I thought we were gonna go over.
Mr. Chairman, we've gone over this for well over an hour. I've heard no amendments to this resolution. I move to call the vote.
I think it was asked for review first.
So we'll take a roll call vote.
Are we going to do this amendment?
Have you made a motion?
Yes, she did, and I seconded it.
What was it? Sorry.
I called the vote before.
Can I not amend this resolution to?
The vote was called before you ever done that.
I'm so against all this.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read the entire resolution top to bottom and roll call vote.
And if we have an amendment, do we do it then?
So I'm going to read the entire resolution and we're going to call the vote.
So you don't get to amend it.
Whereas the Shelby County owns a parcel of land identified by parcel 1812-0400-200-001 and parcel 1812-003-001 containing approximately 235.5 acres, wherein said parcel is referred to herein as the county farm. Whereas the Shelby County has been unable to meet on the purpose requirements set forth by Ordinance Section 1 of the Constitution as it relates to the county farm. Whereas the state of Illinois has repealed the county home laws and deauthorized the county homes remaining in Illinois. Whereas Shelby County concerns that investments acts found in 30 ILCS 235 restricts the county to only investments that have no taxpayer money at risk, whereas any farming of the county farm requires undertaking of risk accustomed to farming, whereas Shelby County recognizes the current issue concerning paying the property taxes of the county farm that should be inconsistent with acceptable application to taxation, whereas Shelby County finds that Shelby County should not compete with its own constituents or participate in its private sector of the economy, whereas Shelby County finds that instead of the growing and harvesting of a crop, the rate of return from alternative low-risk investments are superior to the returns as it receives from the operating of the county farm, whereas the resources and personnel of Shelby County can be better utilized than the management of the county farm, where the investment policy and the county of Shelby does not allow for investments in farming or real estate, whereas Shelby County has been unable to ascertain whether or not the county is liable for paying the income taxes on the revenue generated from the county farm, and whereas Shelby County wishes to establish that the property ownership should be in the purview of the private citizen whenever possible. Now therefore be it resolved that the county of Shelby shall retain the services of a qualified surveyor to survey the county farm property and the specific location of the cemetery located therein, along with identification and an ingress and egress easement to that cemetery. Be it further resolved, the county of Shelby shall retain the services of an appraiser to render an opinion and the value on the county farm. Be it further resolved that the board of Shelby, that the county of Shelby shall sell the complete bundle of rights associated with the real estate property and the present possessory interest in fee simple of that property known as the Shelby County Farm as two separate parcels. The parcels I referenced in the beginning, starting with so 1812-04-00200-001, starting with a bid of 8,000 per acre, and parcel 1812-03-00-100-001B, starting bid of 6,500 an acre, via sealed bid process, with the bids being opened at the duly called meeting of the full county board of Shelby County. Be it further resolved, any bids entertained by the Board of Shelby County in regards to the sale of the county farm shall not be subject to financing. Be it further resolved, the county of Shelby shall order title work to facilitate the sale of the county farm property. Be it further resolved that the county of Shelby shall establish an easement for access to the cemetery according to the Plat Act. Be it further resolved that the buyer of the county farm shall be responsible for paying the real estate taxes which may be due or has become due in connection with the county farm. Be it further resolved, the county of Shelby shall authorize the mayor and the board chairman of the Shelby County Board to sign all documents necessary related to the sale of the county farm. Be it further resolved, the Shelby County reserves the right to refuse any and all bids, including but not limited to those offered by foreign investors concerning the sale of the county farm. Be it further resolved, the proceeds from the sale of property to be tendered to the Shelby County Treasurer for safekeeping investment and lawful investments for which the investment objective is to maximize return and prevent dissipation of the principal net sum from the sale. Adopted and approved, etc. So that was it. We'll call the vote. It's going to be a roll call vote. I'm going to start. So we'll start in the middle of the roll call. I'm going to start the vote.
Where's your legal authority?
Can we ask questions about it?
You don't have any.
Just one quick question, I'm sorry, but the part about the shall not be subject to financing, meaning that has to be a cash purchase?
Right, the buyer would be in charge of their own finance.
Yes.
That isn't what that says. It says no finance. It says no finance.
That means it has to be a cash sale.
I think I got it. Barbie, did I have the floor? I'm not sure.
Before you get sued.
I'm agreeing with you. It says no finance.
Mr. Chairman, I can help with that.
Where's our copy of that?
Or does that just be not contingent, that they need to have the financing in place before they bid, so that we don't accept a bid where then we have to turn around and wait for them to go get financing? Is that what that language is referring to? That if they make a bid, they're prepared to pay, even if they go to the bank and get the financing, they're prepared to be. Excuse me, I have the floor. It's just saying it's not going to be contingent upon them obtaining the financing after the fact. Is that basically what that language is referring to? Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, and are you?
So it says any bids entertained by the county board.
It's been removed, Bobby.
Mr. Chairman.
Sheriff, would you man the door, please?
Jesus.
No.
That's
a good look.
Let him stay.
Oh, there's no message.
Any bids entertained by the board of Shelby County in regard to the sale of the county farm shall not be subject to finance.
You are making a mistake.
Any bids
Do the right
entertained.
thing, guys.
So,
Why so
There's no contract or deed.
there's no contract or deed, there's no contract of anything.
I just want
Deed
clarification.
is a cash sale.
Thank you.
Does that mean they have to have a letter of credit when they attend it from the bank?
So when,
Is that what that means?
when you ascertain a loan from the bank will more than likely, should, write a cashier's check from your loan to the purchase, to the seller.
I understand that, but in order to attend whatever and put in a sealed bid, if you've ever been to an auction, you have to have a letter of credit from your bank to even write a down payment and stuff. See, you guys have written this.
This is what you gotta wait.
Agree with that.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman, you called the vote.
It's totally wrong. Been auctioning here over 40 years, and we're not even close.
Where's the state's attorney?
Vote on this? Yeah, where's the state?
Where's the state attorney? You don't know. Either one.
You don't know what you're talking about.
How
about we that never speak up for once?
Would you use that thing and also use your authority to remove disruptive influences from?
I have to remove the entire room.
Hey,
Okay.
can I talk for a second?
Please.
Hey, Bobby, I should get a talk. Put money in.
Mr. Chairman.
He's on your agenda, you skipped
You
over
point
him.
that thumb at me again, Buster, and it's gonna be a bad day in your life.
Yeah.
I've seen that for an hour and a half.
Mr. Chairman.
Please, we give it back to public officials.
Maintain control.
Let him talk.
Let him talk.
Let him talk. Let's do it talk.
I remember 14, 15.
Just talk regardless. Just talk.
So, I said I was going to start the roll call vote. I'm starting the roll call vote.
Well, they're not going to right here, so they're not going to shut up.
The one here was point of order. Point of order. Our rules say called alphabetically. Rule 16.
Alphabetical. There's no definition of alphabetical. As far as
You totally lost it.
Yes. He was naughty and did that. That's not fair.
What you're doing right now, and you know what? What I'm offering is
Yes.
after harvest.
Let him talk.
But he won't let
this is.
You skipped over.
What are you scared of? What are you scared of?
Because if this goes or it does not go.
Why are you not going to get that? He won't let him talk. He wants to talk. What are you scared of? What are you guys scared of?
Just since we spoke in the primary, they're speaking now. That's all I gotta say.
Hey, Bobby, I offered to do this for free again.
Let him talk.
And you don't want to call that or vote on that, do you?
You won't even let us listen to it.
He won't talk to you, Stu.
No.
Go ahead and talk.
He won't talk to
What a
me.
coward.
Jeremy's afraid to point at something.
Disgrace.
Are you going to let him present it?
This is what community looks like.
Are you going to let him present it?
Turn your back. I'll take it off, but I got Jeremy has to say.
Out of here.
Just because Jeremy
Why
knows.
don't you leave, Jeremy?
Roll call and we'll do it from the top.
You're not gonna do roll call, we're all gonna have a fit.
Shay! I said roll call when we started from the top. Shay! It's shameful. Shame on all of it. Shame on her.
What with the hammer? Can't you let the man talk and get on the agenda?
We are discussing item 19.
You're discussing, you're not letting anybody else.
You're giving your constituents no option.
You're not letting anybody else discuss.
Why, move on finance to the end.
You that are for, they're already going to find what you have to say. I don't understand.
Yes, Giselle? Somebody got to.
Voting on the
If we
resolution.
don't get amended,
No.
The vote's been called in.
This is the problem.
Carol made a motion 30 minutes ago to amend it. 30 minutes ago, Bobby, you ignored her.
What are you scared of?
She made a motion, Teresa seconded it.
Yes, she did.
Yes, it's on record.
You may have heard Carol.
No.
Because I said, call the vote before she said it.
Turn your backs to the community.
Jesus.
It's on the video, that's a lie. Hamlin. Ben.
Yes.
Bain.
No.
Kiss your ass.
Brown.
Brown.
Anyway.
No.
Your constituents
Cole.
already spoke.
No. Edwards.
No.
Fernhaber.
Yes.
Hardy.
About enough.
Hardy.
Yes. Don't worry about it.
Take your hat off when you sit in the courtroom.
Keenan.
Yes.
Marks.
You can go there if you want to hear on.
Mayhall.
No.
Until November. That's a
Morse.
bad call.
Nelson. Orman.
Yes.
What was that?
Ross.
Yes.
Do anything good?
Shove.
Yes.
Oh, Gordon. Tate.
Yes.
Wallace.
No.
Thank you, Brent.
Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Shameful. Absolutely
Apparently soon.
What's the vote got to be? Three-fourths?
That's what I asked.
What's the vote got to be?
All it's right is that you lost.
2/3 is taken. Do you know that? Do you know that?
Vote. You don't know what the vote's got to be.
Read the statute. Read the statute.
This is the wrong case.
Read the statute, because I don't think it says that.
Only sell it once.
I mean, it's already passed.
But what I'm saying is, you know, for this, on with the business, you think it's when they come to this, I would make a judge.
Item 31 is discussion and vote to receive bids for cover crop and county farm.
Was a little late for that.
Yeah, you're selling it, dude.
Is there a motion for cover crops?
What happens if the motion about me, bud?
You want second or no?
Second.
Second on cover crops.
Who made the
Discussion.
motion?
Jeremy made a motion.
Mitchell, this was your wise idea.
Seconded.
All winter you thought of this, Mitchell? This is the best you got.
Yeah.
Christ, no way.
Amen.
Stay real hard.
Boy, Christine, now I'll kick your ass.
You're a joke. You're a trap.
All in favor of removal, Belina, say aye.
Aye. Guess what?
Nay.
I'm not leaving.
Nay.
He'll take me out
Nay.
of the
Nay. Nay.
I'm not leaving. Sorry.
No.
The sheriff's in the hallway.
My courthouse.
You did what you wanted. Now she can do what she wants.
The sheriff's in the hallway, Mommy.
Or,
And guess what? I ain't leaving.
Fine, get one.
Which is the planning of the cover
Jeremy, do you have a right to call him?
still important to keep
You're not
planning
the
of
chairman, Jeremy.
I got a question on the cover.
Well, he just called in the sheriff to take her out. It's not his
The sheriff's here, Bobby.
Wow.
Belina's been disruptive and
He's not leaving.
You're gonna have to take me out in cuffs, because I'm not leaving. Neighbor.
She used profanity, it's on record. She needs to be removed because she has harassed the board with profanity.
Oh, okay. I'm the only one in this room being irrational. No.
There's been several arrests of public officials.
Rest of constituents, if we're going to talk about that, so.
I gotta look.
Mitch,
Hey, can I run this way?
It's not at all bad here. I mean,
Call him.
Mark's right after.
I'll be right back. I'll be right back. I'll be back. We need to ship video. I'm not leaving this. Turn off the video.
Did the board last month already pass something about cover crop? I haven't done
The board said we could talk about it. Okay?
The committee needs to go back and make a decision on what.
And we did talk about it. Okay?
We didn't have a board.
That's the two people who voted to sell it.
Can I say something about the cover crop?
You what?
Can I say something about the cover crop? Have we voted or already done on it? Okay, so I may need some help here because I know Stu Fox knows about cover crop. It's going to cost the county the first pass.
You're allowed to spray the chemicals
For
to kill what's out
chemicals,
there.
okay. And when Stu got a bid for the chemicals, the first pass was about $9,000. That's what it would cost the county to get rid of the weeds first. Then you have to hire a farmer to plant whatever it is, the oats, the rye, whatever. You have to buy the oats, the rye, whatever. Then you have to have somebody take care of that property. Is that right, Stu?
Yeah.
And I need to
Just because you plant it to cover crop doesn't mean it ain't gonna grow weeds, but
And then it's something about the trees and other stuff that you have to, I don't know. Anyway, it's gonna cost the county a lot of money to do nothing. To not produce a crop, to not have a revenue from it.
So what you're describing is an inherent liability.
So why would? No, it's an inherent stupidity.
So- It needs to go back to the committee, discuss what the plan of the cover crop, either plant small seeds, large seed grasses, legumes, brassica, combination of all of them.
It's a dumb idea.
And it protects the land, it suppresses the weeds, and in the interim, between now and the sale.
Okay, I have another question first before it goes back to you. Okay, I'm at a disadvantage on this committee, and I've asked that Tim Morris be put on this committee since July. So I never have 5 people on this committee. That's the reason we had 2 people show up Tuesday night. Everybody else that's on committee, you seem to appoint everybody for all those other committees, and they're full. The farm committee has never been full. And we've not had more than 3 people show up for a committee meeting.
It was full,
One
and
time.
then Dave Ogden got ran out of town.
You resigned and Mark, and I asked, would you appoint Tim Morris and Heath McCormick, and you appointed Heath and Jeremy. Then I asked every other month after that, would you appoint Tim Morris because he's a farmer? To me, he is the most, he could produce, what do I want to say? He has more knowledge about farming than anybody I know of, except for maybe Stu over there. I need him on that committee, but you fail every month to support what I want.
Because the idea was not the farm.
So now you've got Tim around, and that's okay. But I'm wondering why, for 10 months, you refuse to put Tim Morris on the farm committee because he's a farmer, which seems like it would be logical.
You would think.
Because he had to pick everybody he wanted.
So that's the luxury of the chair.
Yes.
That's more roaches.
That's misuse of the chair.
You won't have it long.
I will.
You'll be
I
going
will go
next.
back into history a little bit. Specifically, I was on the agenda to be appointed to a committee, and the chairman at the time completely grazed over it and completely ignored it.
Well, you did that tonight.
I haven't gone back to all the appointments yet. So, there is powers in the chair. I could stack the entire committee with everybody in the back row from Mitch to Sean, and it would be, that would be my committee. I can do that. But instead, I've had you in chair for numerous times over. And it was completed. It was full, the start, the middle.
No, it's never, one time it was full. And you've never given me an explanation why you would not.
Chairman, point of order, I failed to see how this conversation is germane to agenda item 21, which is what we are on.
So I had a motion in a second. Is there a withdrawal? We've already made this decision. Actually, it says to receive bids for cover property tax. So does anybody have any bids?
No.
We're just giving them permission to receive bids. We don't have to accept the bids. Sending this resolution didn't go back to committee, even though it didn't come out of committee. Why can't we just authorize them to go get bids for a cover crop? Why does it have to go back to committee?
Yeah.
Because this resolution should have gone back to committee if that's the rules you want to play on.
Right, Jeremy?
You want to borrow my old man?
We've been down this road. But, so,
Because you disagree.
all in favor, discussion vote to receive bids, cover costs, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Discussion and vote to mowing the county farm cemetery and bid process. Is there a motion? Motion by Don, seconded by Tad. Discussion on this.
Mr. Chairman, in the April Farm Committee meeting, there was a person who was mentioned who was willing to mow. They gave a very, very low bid. And it, I mean, obviously well below the bid threshold, so we could just take it. The only concern that I had there was that person is a direct relation to a sitting elected official, and I didn't want to give the appearance of nepotism.
He's not interested anymore, so you don't have to worry about it. He's not interested.
Okay, well, if someone in such a position were to be interested, I would, even though it's well below the bid threshold and we could just take it without bidding, I just would ask that that be done through a legitimate bona fide bid process to avoid any appearance of wrongdoing.
Hey, Jeremy, do you think they'll vote for $35? You think you'll get a bid of $35 or less?
That's what it was,
To mow the cemetery was $35. No, but he's not interested.
Because the county farm, which includes roads, waterways, and lanes, and the cemetery.
I can tell you, when Kenny mowed it, it was $500 every time he did it.
Right. So there's a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Do I have to sit here and listen to being called names by the
Yeah.
Do I have to
About you. Stop.
Excuse me.
I wasn't talking about you.
You said jackass.
I said jackass is in the corner.
No,
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. I'm seeing right next to you.
Associate that.
We have discussion on the county farm cemetery and mowing.
Just shut Can we go with 16? What are we doing now? Oh, we've already done it.
We didn't know.
We're on 22.
Okay.
So discussion and vote on mowing the county farm cemetery, the bid process. What is the detail of that?
I didn't hear what you said.
So we have a motion to mow the cemetery and county farm and a bid process. Whoever authored this, please elaborate.
Jeremy put it on the agenda.
I'm sorry, what was that?
We're on 22.
Number 22?
Have a motion and a second.
Yeah, it's just going to need mowed in, just like the cover crop, in the intermittent time between, or intervening time between now and the finalization of the conveyance of the property. So,
So is being in charge of property of the county, is the sheriff in charge of this?
That's a good question.
Would that be the case with the farm then too? The sheriff should be in charge of the farm?
You're gonna be mowing now.
Maintenance.
That's free.
So is that just buildings or is that property?
I don't know. See, when it was the county, when it was the county farm, I was the administrator, the handlers.
Well, Mr. Chairman, let's have the committee make a recommendation to the board for mowing.
Motion table, come back.
Second.
All in favor of the table, say aye. Aye. Same sign, nay, so.
Funny how you table that, you can't table it.
22 tables, go back to the committee reports.
Are we gonna do 4 and 5? Or are we gonna do 16? We better do 4 and 5. Why are we allowed one?
I did 4. I announced 4.
Okay, how about 5?
So let's go through 24, 25, and 26.
How about 16?
26 appointments.
How about 16? Yeah.
So there any committee reports?
He's here at number 16.
Hearing none.
I have one.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so at the airport Saturday was their second pancake breakfast, flying and drive-in. They had 30 airplanes come in and 1 parachute. They served about 250 people. Thought this was a great event. They had this commemorative airplane that a pilot from St. Louis flew. He was from Indianapolis, flew to St. Louis, picked up this airplane, brought it to the airport, took one ride, and then I think he had something wrong with the wheel. Anyway, just thought it was pretty neat that this came out of the museum in St. Louis. It was great for the airport.
Public safety, so the sheriff, see him right now, was able to sign a, there he is, unless he wants to give the update. But he got a project design or project development agreement signed for the windows. And I think just last week, the contractors were here in town. I actually bumped into them downtown over lunch. And so that project is well underway. So appreciate the sheriff getting that done so quickly. And now with the dive team back in action, timing was good. They were called out just 2 weeks ago, unfortunately, for recovery. But being there firsthand, it was a lot to take in, very emotional, to observe their skill sets and to observe their specialty and the care and attention for the victim and the family, the privacy. I don't know. I could go into a lot more detail with it. Feel free to talk to me, but it was just a little bit overwhelming for me to see that firsthand. And again, publicly, thank you for what it is that you guys do. So, thank you.
I would just like to add a little bit to Tad's, because did you say that we talked to the other commander from Effingham, and he had nothing but praise about our dive team, and said they had more compassion than any dive team he'd ever seen, and he wished that his dive team had that much compassion.
Glad to have him back.
It's great to watch it all.
Committee reports.
Mr. Chairman, I had a quick question. On Friday at about 20 after 1, I emailed a policy to the clerk's office along with agenda for this Tuesday's legislative committee meeting. There was a document, a policy also attached to that email that was supposed to be on the agenda tonight, and it didn't make it.
I was out of the office Friday afternoon. I didn't know that there was something that was supposed to be on the agenda. I thought, I was told you just wanted it sent to the department heads.
Okay. That's okay. After the meeting, we can look at the email. That's no problem. And I apologize if there's any part of that that's my fault. I just wanted to ask real quick.
Committee reports. Hearing none, we'll move to chairman updates, correspondences. Hopefully I'm not being a liar, but we should have an audit report, a draft audit report, either tomorrow or Monday. So.
I was told by the treasurer today that you were going to get it tomorrow.
Okay. So that draft should be in their inboxes tomorrow. It will be a draft, so it will not be foilable until it's ratified and accepted by the board, just so everybody knows.
Will the whole board get the draft?
Yeah, sure. Okay. That's what we're talking about.
Okay. I just thought I'd ask.
Okay, moving on to appointments. Seeking consent of the board to appoint Ruth Warner to the Shelby County State's Attorney. All in favor of the appointment?
I'd like to do this by roll call, please.
Roll call, call.
Amley.
Yes.
Bennett.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
Edwards.
Yes.
Fernhaber.
Yes.
Hardy.
Yes.
Keenan.
Yes.
Marks.
Yes.
Mayhall.
Yes.
Morse.
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Orman.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Shuck. Tate.
Yes.
Wallace.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you. Now seeking consent of
I've
the
got
board.
another question. When was this put in?
4:01 tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, I have a letter from her, if you'd like to read it.
So, this is not signed by her, it has no letterhead on it. But I'm going to read what it says since you attested that it came from her. So,
I can bring up my email if you want to see.
no, that's fine. I just want to put the disclaimer on there. It's not, this is words on paper, but I will take her advice that it was from Ruth. It says, I apologize that I could not attend tonight's meeting. I want to thank you for the appointment to finish out the term of the Shelby County State's Attorney. I look forward to the challenges that this position will bring, and I'm grateful to be able to serve my community in this way. As this ongoing debate of whether or not it is legal farmland owned by the county, I do not believe it is appropriate, for me to give a formal opinion before being sworn into office. However, I will say that the law at issue is very clear and in no way ambiguous. I would be happy to discuss this issue with anyone who has concerns over how the law is to be interpreted as soon as I take office. So that was it.
I can send it to an email to all the board members if they like, or I can have her.
So, now I'm seeking consent of the board to try to appoint Tim Brown to the farm committee.
So moved.
I said I'm seeking consent. I'm going to call a vote.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Point of order.
Item 5 is not a customary, ordinary appointment of the chairman. I believe that requires a motion and a second. I do not want to see that vote have any hiccups because we did not motion and second the vote. I believe everyone on this board is in favor of the appointment, but I did not hear a motion or a second. I believe that's in order.
You're making a little bit of motion. All right, so in a point of order, Don.
I think that isn't that also really the duty of the Republican Central Committee's chairman to make this recommended appointment?
It is the responsibility of the chair to fill a position. With consent of the board.
Mr. Chairman, if I might.
Hold on, let's recommend.
Mr. Ross makes a point. I do not know of the accuracy of that point. I do know that board rules state that committee appointments are to be made by the chairman with advice and consent of the board. And so if consent implies vote, and if you're going to vote, you might want to take a motion.
All right, over here.
That's same one. Yeah, I just agree with Mr. Ross that, yeah, it won't hurt to have it.
Okay, so we will read it. We will exercise back to item 5. Motion?
Yep. Motion.
Motion by Sonny, seconded by Tim. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Unanimous vote, motion carries. Next is Tim Brown, on seeking consent to appoint Tim Brown to Farm Committee. Second. Carol. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Lastly is Doug Keenan to the Legislative Committee.
So moved.
Martha, second by Jeremy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Any old business? Hearing none, approval of the claims. Is there a motion to approve the claims? Brett makes the motion to approve the claims. Is there a second? Second by Sean. Any discussion on approval of claims?
I'd like to amend the claims.
All right, there's an amendment to the motion to the claims. What is the amendment?
We have some late receipts. First one is marketing.com. It is for...
Is that the one from Color Art?
Yes.
Those are checks. Those are accounts payable checks.
Yeah, it's for $1,040. $6,500. I would, any discussion, I guess.
Do we need a motion to put each one of these in?
So, you're making an amendment to add these to the bills.
Correct. We're going 2 of the 3, basically.
Okay.
So, if you want to put 2 of these together, we can. Second one is to Full Throttle. It's for a tune-up for the service of chainsaw for the, I believe it's a rescue team. Just basic maintenance, $90.60.
Deducted tax.
Oh, thank you. There was tax of $3.47 that we would need to deduct from that total.
So those 2 bills are down to
90.6 of those. $3.47. So it'd be for $87.13. So I'd like a motion to pay these, to add these.
So, second the motion to add those to, and they total what? What the total was?
Well, $87.13 and $1,040.
Okay. Any discussion on those 2 bills as presented? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. the amendment to the bills carries. Okay, go ahead.
We have a third bill for $1,073.74. We have a statement. This is for the Denise Ambrosio, but we have no invoices. We would like a little further details, so we'd like to, these are from last September. September 18th.
It doesn't say when it's for?
13, 15, 18, and, well, it says for training, lodging and training, but there's no detail as to, you know, whether it was food or.
Well, there's no
portion of
receipts.
it.
There's no receipts to determine taxes. That's a bank statement.
Yes, yeah, the statement. Normally they would have some type of receipt, which we don't actually know, even this one is $55, whether that could have included a tip or something. So we would like a little further detail to some receipts, invoices. Yeah, that's usually what we have. So we'd like to send that back. Yes.
So you're holding that one?
Yes, sir. Anything else you need? Okay.
So you make a motion to hold that bill?
Yes, we wish to pull this bill and send it back to committee, but with additional.
Second by Sonny. Any discussion on pulling that bill? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Amendment carries. So now that we have amended the bills, Carol, Jerry.
I just wanted to say before you go to public body comment and we do something else.
Well, look, finish this
When you're
up.
done with that.
So we have amendments to add and amendments to remove. So back to the original motion, voting yes by roll call will be paying the bills as amended. Roll call, please.
Amlin?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
Spain?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Edwards? Yes. Fernhaver?
Yes.
Hardy?
Yes.
Keenan?
Yes.
Marks?
Yes.
Mayhaw?
Yes.
Morse?
Yes.
Nelson? Yes. Orman?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Shuck?
Yeah.
Tate?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Carol.
Okay, I still want to go back to number 16 because are we going to let the farm grow up in weeds or are we going to allow somebody to farm it while we're going through this transition period?
So that is the purpose of item 21 that we passed out last month. Actually.
No, we didn't pass that.
We didn't? Okay, we'll pass this one.
No, you didn't pass it, you just said it's going back to committee.
Yeah. Received it, so this needs to go back to committee for, we still approved 21. That was last month.
No, we did not approve it. And we have somebody that wants to farm the farm for free and we're not going to.
Well, let's evaluate the 16. Seed greens are donated county pay for chemical estimated cost of $24,000. So it's not for free.
It is, he is for free.
The labor is.
So either way, we have about $20,000 outlay.
But we get an income from the beans after they're sold. And if you buy insurance and the crop fails, you end up with $100,000.
I can explain it to you if you want me to.
So I However,
I'm driving at the fact that if we allow Stu Fox to farm, again, the last time he farmed for us, we got a check for $174,000.
Yeah, that's a little better than
That's
90.
just not a drop in the bucket. That pays for like 3 salaries.
You guys don't see.
So he has seed beans that are donated. We would have to pay, the county would have to pay for the chemicals But then, when he sells the crop, that's revenue for the county. He can also buy, or we can buy insurance if the crop fails, we would be guaranteed $100,000. Is that right, Stu?
Yeah.
And then
What
would
it
you
amounts
explain
to
it
is for an
me?
$800 investment, you're guaranteed a 45 bushel average at $11.55. And that cracks 100,000 by a little bit. That's your guarantee. You plant the beans, you don't harvest them, you don't nothing. You don't have to do any of that. That's your crop insurance guarantee.
That's better than cover crop.
Now, I go out there and I plant this crop and I harvest it, and it does what it did 2 years ago. What did that put in your pocket, Bobby? Remember that? Can't pull that out of your butt? 175 grand. These clowns over here reported it.
Yeah, they didn't have that. Don't do that.
Mr. Fox, we still had expenses accrued to that, to the land.
What do you think a cover crop's gonna cost?
How much is your cover crop?
We have gone through the process of the Investments Act. I don't care if it's $24,000. When you consider an investment, you put something in with the expectation of something out. That is the definition of investment.
Well, you're gonna put 23 grand into this to recoup 100,000 guaranteed through crop insurance. If it's a good crop of beans at 11.50, say it's 65 bushel beans, it's gonna be more than that, Bobby.
Well, add it to
Mr.
cover
Chairman,
crop.
point of
It's all
order.
speculation.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Oh, my God.
Back to.
This is why you're not a farmer.
Not farming at $0 per crop.
That's right.
$0.
That's right.
Back to item 16. Item 21 covers that, and item 19 is 16 through 18.
In regards to 16, can I add, or 16, 21, either one, I just have a farming question. So, is it an either or situation, you do a cover crop or you farm it?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not a farmer, don't know anything about
Neither are
farming.
they. That's the point.
I'm just asking a question.
If he went in the order that it was listed on the paper, this would have been discussed before a cover crop, selling the farm, or anything else. He likes to jump around.
Hold on. Julie's asking, no, I'm not yelling. I know she has the right to have an answer and not be thrown at her. So let's do answer.
You're going to give it, you don't know nothing,
She
bud.
wants an answer.
You know?
Point of order.
No, you did both, one or the other.
Would not do both. Okay, either farm it or we would do.
I've got a comment.
Okay.
Cover crop is not free. Cover crop is not free.
Nobody comment.
Right. Mr. Chairman.
So we're not going to farm.
So we're not gonna farm, is that right?
We're not farming it?
We're not even gonna vote on it?
We're not farming it?
So, the ideal time is July.
Can they vote on it not having a meeting the other night?
Yeah.
Lori.
Hey, by July, then we will be real.
So 13 and 14, we skipped intentionally because the documentation tonight is not true.
Did Julie ever get her answer?
Carol answered me.
Okay. I just want to make sure you got your answer, Julie.
Yeah, multiple people here.
All right. So 5 minutes, you go to time, your 5 minutes is 5 minutes. So, nobody comment?
Oh, I put this down.
Oh, well, hey, somebody said this one?
We're not gonna farm it?
Nobody comment? Go ahead.
Could I just ask why we did not go in order of the agenda? I'm not
familiar with a lot
Right.
of this, and I just wondered why it wasn't gone in order.
This is Penny Hood, by the
I'm
way.
Penny Hood, yes. And also, I would like to state, my county director with the Yukon Extension is on the agenda, but she never received confirmation.
I emailed her.
She said she never received confirmation.
We've been having issues with our email, but I did email her.
I just wanted to let you know.
Well, he didn't answer you about the order.
Yeah.
Why didn't you go in order?
Don't you go in order? Why do you number?
Why didn't you go in order? No, I'm asking a question.
She has the floor, man.
You didn't hear the question.
You're ready, Jenny, you can,
Because it says agenda.
Yeah.
So, the order of business is just published. It is not the way you have to read it. It is discretion, just like many other things. The chair runs the meeting. I skipped all the way to 19 because a decision on 19 moots 3 different agenda items.
Can I make a comment?
So that is a move to be efficient. I mean, it's 10 o'clock now.
She would like to.
Could I make a, could I?
Go ahead.
Had you went in order, though, it might have answered a few questions prior to that, jumping to that.
Right.
If you had went in order, pursue my permission to give some clarity on farming property.
It's true. Look at the city.
And it may have been a little clearer for everyone to understand when you got to the other 19, 18. I don't think they had all the information.
Can I speak?
No.
Are you finished? I'm sorry. If you went in order, would 16 have made 19 move?
Maybe some.
Maybe that's why you didn't do 16 first. You did 19 first because you thought 16 would moot out 19, which I have a feeling it would have. And what is your reasoning that you didn't do 16 first? What? You don't have the answer?
No, they don't have it.
Well, Jeremy, if you have an answer, maybe your attorney told you why.
He is an attorney.
In the basement? So it's your choice to go however on the agenda. I'm sorry.
Yes. Chair
No, that's not true.
Chair discretion to operate the meeting as needs be.
That's not Robert's rules.
but you don't follow anyway.
Public body comment.
Well, maybe we should
Right here,
hire
go.
an attorney.
Hi there, my name is Tom Fulton. I've been watching a lot of this go on since the beginning, really. And I can't be more disappointed in Mitchell and Martha and their vote. I know they're both leaving office, so this is their last chance to basically get what they wanted. And I just don't really get it. I don't get the hurry for selling the farm. Why is there such a hurry and a need to sell this farm? How did it ever get brought up? Why sell it to begin with? Stu over there farmed it, $170,000. You guys just like close your eyes to that. It's like, we don't know what that money's at. You know, you act like that money ain't no good because it comes from the farm crops. I don't get that. I don't get it, how that can be. And like you just said, he would do it again this year. And you guys are such in a hurry to sell this, and I know why. Because, first of all, your state's attorney's leaving. You're going to have new county board members before long, and you're not going to have the majority no more. Yeah. So you got to hurry to sell it before the majority changes. It ain't rocket science. It ain't rocket science at all what you guys are doing. You guys are shoving this through because you're running out of time to shove it through. And honestly, and this, like I said, this is my first meeting being here. I want to tell you right now, I'm friends with Martha, Mitchell, Julie, and Erica. I'm friends with all of them. I got friends on both sides of this. Okay? So that's one reason why I've stayed out of this as long as I have. I mean, I've talked to Julie privately. I've talked to Martha and Erica privately. And we've had some good conversations. I've known these two twin girls since they were kids. I've known Julie since she was in high school. I've known Mitchell forever. Mitchell come and fixed my roof one year. Okay? And a lot of people don't know these people like I do. I know I'm outside of this room. And unfortunately, I don't understand why there's this obsession for selling this farm. Now, we will know the answer shortly. As soon as it gets sold, we'll know the answer. So I guarantee you, it's already down the line, it's already sold. So whoever's gonna get it now, it's the same guy who's gonna get it 2 years ago. I promise you that. The only thing that would stop it is if a bunch of these people here together form a unity, and I bet whoever the corporation is going to be, because it's going to be a corporate office, unless it's somebody like Halbrook's going to buy it.
He ain't got no money.
So, I mean, whoever's going to buy it, it's already said. And you guys can all tell me you have no idea, and some of you don't have any idea because we ain't been in the loop. But the ones that are in the loop and know that it's going to be sold, they already know who it's going to go to anyway. You know?
Where you guys get?
And like I said, I got friends on both sides of this. And I will say, as you being the chairman of the board, it looks really poorly on you, and I don't know you, it looks really poorly on you when you have to look at Jeremy for every answer. I'll tell you what, first time I ever met Jeremy, me and him got along. It was at a meeting. And I'll tell you what, one of the board meetings I was at, that I came to, me and Jeremy was on the same side. You know what we were doing? We were trying to save Erica's job. But through all this, I'll tell you what, I'm totally flipped. You know, the watchdogs need to go home, the digest have never been stopped, and all this other stuff. The farm should be sold, yeah, you're going to sell it. Guess what? You can only sell it once.
Yeah.
How many times can you farm it?
Yeah.
And it's a shame that Mitchell wants to sell a farm when he's a farmer. He's a really good farmer. He started doing organic crops and stuff. He knew about soil content and all that stuff.
He doesn't farm.
I'm sure, well, he has farmed, and he's a very good farmer. I'll tell you right now, he is. Well, that's because he don't want to. That's his choice. You know, but I'm telling you, I know that the timbers and everything in this place has been just boiling over. I know that. But I've been in this town for 54 years. I served with the public for 35 years. Since you don't know me, I'll let you know this. I was one of the managers out of County Market. I was one of the managers of Moto. Right now I work with disabled individuals. So, when you talk about a poor farm, some of those people are probably there, right? Not the same people, but I'm sure there are some disabled people that were probably on that farm. Because they were homeless, right?
No, they were all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that was my first concern on selling the farm. But honestly, I hope that if it does get sold, I hope that somehow Carol Cole and some of the other people involved in this end up owning the damn thing.
I couldn't agree with you more. If she wants to buy it, buy it.
I hope she does. But honestly, I think it's already been sold.
It's already been sold.
And that's why you're going to do sealed bids. And there'll probably be sealed bids where only the people that want to sell it will be involved in watching and reading it.
See, that's the point of a sealed bid and the receipt of a sealed bid, is they get brought into a courthouse and they're open in an open meeting.
Yeah. Well, the open meeting will be a meeting where it's going to be like you and Jeremy and Sonny and that's how the meeting will go. It won't have everybody else involved in it.
Not wrong.
They do whatever they want.
They do whatever they want. That's why they went straight to 19.
Martha, this is, you know, I'm not going to say anything nasty to you, but I got involved in the farm when your heart was in it, when you were on the city board. And I even still have the newspaper clippings. And you were very emotional about the farm because your grandparents were there. That's why I'm surprised the change of not wanting it now. Am I wrong? Did I not catch that correctly at the city meetings? I'm just curious because you did have your heart into it, and that's how I got involved. And another thing, can you even vote tonight if there was no farm meeting the other night? Can you legally vote tonight?
No.
You can't, even though they had no meeting.
Absolutely.
I thought that was...
They're their own
So let me go back to...
Wait a minute, I thought that you could could not do that.
You want to
I go on too.
Yeah, yeah, they said I had to leave. Where's the sheriff? But I'm just saying, I thought you could, if the farm meeting didn't have a meeting, I thought that could be on the agenda tonight.
No.
To vote. I'm pretty sure I heard that too.
It's always nice when things can go
Well,
through.
they didn't even have a
committees.
meeting. They had an agenda, but they didn't have a meeting. So I don't understand. Am I just one of the only dummies out here, or I don't get it? Because from my understanding, you can't do that.
Yeah, well,
And it's been brought up here.
you are incorrect, and I'll give you 2 reasons why. Every board member has a given right to put any business on the agenda they so please.
Unless it's Teresa.
Unless it's mom.
Yeah.
She's never been restricted.
Yes, she did. She wanted the ARPA funds put on there and you wouldn't let her.
She can send an email to Jessica. Now, let's pause. She can send an email to Jessica, put ARPA funds and report on agenda. Jessica has the full obligation as a requested board member to do so. I have never told her no.
I've had some put on the
I don't know, that's not
agenda.
just faces.
I asked for the INRF lady from St. Louis to come, and it was on the agenda, and I talked to the lady and everything else, and it got taken off. I think Erica had something to do with it, because I called Erica and asked her if she had told the lady she was not to come, because I had already talked to the lady about coming. Ask her. Ask her. See,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, I know.
So I'm going back to here.
Okay.
This is out of control.
I would just like to know.
So
Avoid that, avoid that.
there's 2 reasons. If a general board member has every obligation to put a piece of business on the agenda, they have absolute right to do so. The board chairman has no right to do so, and I argued this point 4 years ago when I asked for specifically, I asked the clerk to put on an agenda item for February, March, and April. And finally in April, your time is not lapsing, by the way, I apologize. Finally in April, Bruce Cannon says, I guess I can't block that agenda item because of the case law that was rendered, and I don't know where it's down south, where basically the chairman of that board was trying to prohibit its board members from putting on the removal of the chair on the agenda. And it was reviewed by a judgment that says the chair has no authority to remove from an agenda. So there's multiple avenues there. There's no restriction to board members, and Jeremy has every right to put this on the agenda as an individual board member.
Well, they didn't have any board members here to vote. So they couldn't have a meeting. So this makes no sense to me. I don't know, maybe I'm, like I said, just one of the dummies out here or something, I don't know, but to me it makes no sense. If the farm meeting didn't have a meeting, how can you vote against the farm without them having their meeting first? I don't, you went a whole different circle than I seem to get. But they do what they want. Yep. We had a lawyer here, then we would have some answers.
We do have a lawyer.
I know Tom is here, but they're not gonna let me talk.
Finished?
Yeah, I'm done.
Public body comment. Great.
Just a couple comments. It's been a big evening, and I want to know, why is it when Carol asks questions of Mr. Hamlin, she gets no response? But somehow Jeremy can get him to review stuff. That's a little concerning to me. That to me tells me when Carol says she can't get an answer back from him, that tells me that she's not being represented by a state's attorney, which is their job. And so any legal questions that she has about our farm have never been answered since last February. If you're so convinced that what you're doing is legal and selling it, then it shouldn't be a big deal to wait till Ruth comes in for her to review it and let the state decide.
Yep.
That's a logical thing to ask. I mean, does it ever, I was taught when someone wants you to make a decision in a big hurry and wants to talk around you instead of answering questions like Julie asked questions. I may not agree with things that Julie said before, but I'll tell you what, she should have had a full-on conversation with Stu months ago to know what the options were, because she doesn't farm, just like he's not a nurse. she could explain things to him that would make absolutely no sense until he actually saw it and had it explained to him. So she should have had the right to ask those questions. I've never heard of anyone in my life so hell-bent on destroying something so important. Look at this room.
Yep.
By a show of hands, who wants the farm sold? Who wants it? Do you see this? Yeah, see this gallery?
Nobody.
Did just you?
Your constituents.
Yeah, so my question is, no,
You asked for a raise of hands, and there was not a single person in this room that rose their hand. I was
does
acknowledging
anybody
the
want the
board.
farm sold was the question.
No one wants it.
Right,
Nobody wants
see
it
this?
sold. He didn't.
But-
No hands, why did you vote yes?
But you took that agenda that Jeremy developed earlier this week. You took the agenda and you took all of our votes, all of our board members, you took our rights away.
Yep.
By denying Stu the chance to talk and explain what he could offer us. People like Julie, she wanted to know an answer.
Yep.
And you know what happened when she tried to ask the question? 3 or 4 of you were trying to shush her. You didn't want her to ask. You didn't want her to talk to Stu. Don't act like you did because we sit here and watched it. The other thing is this investment thing. Okay, I've done investments. I have some investments, okay? And a lot of us do. If my investment guy told me sell paid for ground and put the money in the bank, I'd fire his butt. You don't do that because the investment rates change. Cash rent always goes up. And you walked around cash rent this whole time, Bobby, but I'm not stupid. You know as well as I do that if we cash rent that farm, there's money in our hand every year. And it avoids all this other nonsense. It avoids this man over here having to donate his time and the wear and tear on his machinery to do it. You've avoided it and it avoided it, and it didn't get past me. There's money to be made every year that we have very little output for. We don't have to carry crop insurance. We don't have to do any of that. The farm will pay its own taxes on time every year. The farmer's responsibility, am I wrong?
You're right.
And when you do cash rent, the farmer, if he chooses to get crop insurance, that's him. We pay none of that. The only thing that's historically kind of been agreed to with a lot of people, the cash rent, is they'll split the line, or if the ground is deficient, they will try to get them caught up on the front end of their contract, which is usually like 3 years.
Right. Yep.
So this idea that we're going to take this farm and sell it, number one, we don't know if there's capital gains. You have no idea the answer to the tax question. You don't have a clue in the world. Everybody in this room knows your FOS. You have no idea what you're talking about. So if you think the state of Illinois is going to let us sell a couple $1 million of whatever and not get their cut, you're a little slow to the game, because that's not how it works.
I don't want him to be my banker.
I encourage each of you that has questions about how it is, how it works to do a cover crop, how it works to do cash rent, talk to Tim, talk to Stu, ask them some questions. Let them sit down and draw up the numbers. If you're not sure about this investment crap, find someone like Tad. It doesn't have to be Tad. Let him show you what the investments are going for right now. Because this number that Erica came up with, I can tell you, we got a lot of investments that earn less than 0.5%. So if we let that be our guide, we're going to be struggling for a little while. Because when we have to sell it, look at a grin, when we have to sell it, it's gone and you get nothing left. You've got nothing. There's no farm to go back to. There's no cash rent. There's nothing. It's gone. When the account's dry, it is dry. And you're not going to make what you can at 0.5% that you can farm. That's just how it is.
First of all, Tim Brown, I want to thank you for your comments. At the beginning of this, I wholeheartedly agree with what Tim said. I think he said what a lot of us think. Stu, I want to thank you for volunteering to do what you did, even though we can't vote on it for some reason. I appreciate the effort and the past effort bringing in money for this county. The vast majority of the people of Shelby County don't want to sell this farm. 10 or 11 people sold the farm. This is county farm tonight. It's been here 150 years. 10 or 11 of you sold it. I heard before or during or after the vote, You know, we got a math lesson earlier, and we got a history lesson, and we got a constitutional law lesson. But none of that, and Mr. Finks might be able to speak to this better than I, but none of that equates to it being unlawful to farm the farm. A political philosophy that a lot of people that voted for this to sell the farm have is far right and believes that, as Clay said earlier, we shouldn't be in competition with a farmer. I don't think farming 200 acres in Shelby County is going to compete with the farmers in Illinois. I don't think there's anything illegal or unconstitutional at all. And those of you who voted to sell the farm based on that, you've been sold the bill of goods. You know, been sold the bill of goods. And I hope you don't really believe don't believe that, because I think Illinois and Springfield has made it perfectly clear. I don't think any of you are constitutional lawyers. I think you have a political philosophy that supersedes your thinking into doing what's right for our county, into doing what's right for our people, and be damned what 80% of the county wants to do and what's right fiscally for our county. So I'm sad to see it go that way. I'm not shocked, not surprised. Tommy said it. You got to push it through before things change. And things change March 19th for a reason. They change March 19th because people want the dive team in the water. They want the farm. They want the farm. They want our deputies taken care of.
Yep.
Absolutely.
They want our money invested well.
Yep. And we don't want to.
That statement was made March 19th, and the statement on the other side of the equation was made tonight by 10 or 11 people to sell our county farm. And it's dang sad. It's dang sad. And once again, I thank Mr. Brown, Mr. Fox for their efforts tonight, and some of the other people. And maybe Mr. Finks can speak better than I can on the laws that apply to this, but I think for someone in your seat to sit up there and preach the laws of Illinois and the Constitution, I'll take his word. Thank you.
Okay, I kind of compare this selling tonight to the deal with the Chautauqua building. You all remember the Chautauqua building? You were afraid to speak your mind on the Chautauqua, that building. I can't say that word. You can't, because the person sitting next to you might be in favor of it and you were against it. But the point is, it doesn't matter whether that was a good thing or the bad thing. The point is, that's what the people wanted. They voted on it, they voted to put the money into it and turn it into whatever. Okay, now it may sit there empty, nothing may come of it, but it is what the people wanted, and that's what this is all about. This board is a complete failure tonight, except for a very few people. A complete failure because you are not asking the people, you didn't look into it. This should have been put to a vote and let the people decide. And I'm ashamed. You are ruining property values here. That was one big selling point to moving to Shelbyville. You know, we have this farm that adds to our income. That was a big selling point for anybody that buys property here. I don't know why you voted against it. I suppose you all have your own reason. I kind of think some of you are using it for a stepping stone in the Republican Party or some such nonsense. But I'm telling you, you're all a failure, and I'm ashamed of you.
Amen.
Public body comment. Public body comment. Please.
I was asked to read this text message again, so I'm going to. If you don't like Martha, that's fine. I don't always agree with her either. But you can't use your personal feelings to disenfranchise 2,000 people in another district. That's unprofessional. A lot of people worked very hard for you. You wouldn't have gotten where you are without that help. That help came from Martha and Erica and others. There is going to be retribution for your actions. And the only way to avoid that is to resign. Mr. Williams sent that to a previous board member. He admitted to that in the discussion the other night. He also said he talked to board members and told them that they could be sued if they voted to farm. Now, I've been on the phone calling attorneys from all over the place, all over. They said that could be viewed as coercion. Coercion.
Yeah.
Intimidation of how people vote. Now, I don't know if that's correct or not, because attorneys could give you 100 different opinions. The only way you know is if it's investigated and it goes to a court system. I don't know, because I talked to different lawyers who've given me one opinion on one thing and a different opinion on another thing. Just like this farm, you decide you found the opinion you liked and you went with it.
Yep.
You know, you're wanting to say that we don't believe in the Constitution? That's a joke. A new law was passed. There's not been case law to see what's going on now since this law has been passed. It's never been to a court system. And Mr. Hardy, you wanted to direct that comment to me about the farm. Do you not care one little lick? You gave this long, heartfelt speech. But you know, when we were standing out in the parking lot, you said to me, this is all over my head. And you sat here and voted.
About the thing that went on, and I didn't know nothing about that.
Yeah, but is it right, wrong, or different? It seems like you decide to pick and choose what you want to. That's my whole problem with this whole board. Is it's picking and choosing. We sat in a meeting the other night that said the rescue squad was an illegal part of the thing that doesn't have insurance. And you guys are basically saying, because the insurance claim that was paid was before the thing went on in Springfield. And so they're saying they're not insured. So you guys sit here and you lecture us about Constitution and laws, but you're picking and choosing. Picking and choosing. Stood down a dive team because supposedly they didn't have insurance. The rescue squad, nothing. We want our services, that's for sure. But selling the farm tonight, you know, I'm glad we have people in Windsor in the house tonight. Really glad, because they needed to be able to see what our representation from Windsor are doing, and some really good people that come from some very good families are in this room tonight. They want to see this farm sold. That constituents don't want to see it. Part of them are from Mr. Williams. Some are in his district and in Mitchell Shelby's district.
And Mark Bennett's.
There's a lot of people here that didn't want it. And as far as constitutional goes, that's for a court to decide. When individuals start trying to determine constitutionality, that could lead to lawlessness.
Yep.
That is what every attorney I talked to told me. Lawlessness. And I think there's an attorney here shaking his head agreeing with that tonight. And I talked to several. It's not for you to decide, it's for a court to decide.
Yep.
And I hope that a court gets to decide in an injunction to stop the sale of this farm.
Public body comment.
Who's bigger, Chris?
Oh, no, Stewie's a lot bigger than me, so I'll let Stewie go. All I was gonna do is thank Stewie for showing up, and I thought it was really rude that you didn't get called on after everything that you've done for our community. You guys are voting to sell this farm, you have a thing about community.
Yep. That's all right.
Well, my question is to everybody who voted to sell this farm tonight, is pretty simple. Where are you getting more of it? Last I checked, they're not making any more farm ground.
Yep, that's right.
This is what we got. And you guys are pissing it away. I don't know why. 2 years ago, you sat at the farm meeting along with Bennett, the only two people that voted no on free. You and him. Now you're leading this show. Big surprise. Well, you're leading it with the help of your puppet here. But anyway, next meeting after that, after you two sat and voted no, Well, guess what? You nutted up and voted yes. Why was that, Bobby? Did you not want to look bad in front of the big crowd or what? Because you look like crap now, buddy.
Yep.
You call this, you didn't even look at what Carol proposed. You skipped right by that to go over this farm selling crap, which that's what it is. You know it. Everybody in this room knows it.
Yep.
Hell, the whole damn room held up their hand when the lady asked who wants to keep this farm. Everyone. The only people who don't is the people who voted no. That's a hell of a damn swing there, guys. And you're out here representing us?
Yeah.
I don't think you're representing anybody but yourselves and what suits you. And I don't think that's how this is supposed to work.
Yep.
But all I can tell you is this, guys, your day's coming. One of you guys voted to sell this shit can. I'll make it my life's effort, and that won't be good for you.
And he's serious. Public body comment.
We're with you, Stu.
Public body comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Tommy Spinks. Some questions that I wish would have been asked before the vote would include who drafted the resolution, who reviewed the resolution, what is the statutory authority that determines the quantity of votes needed, whether majority, whether 2/3, whether 3/4. I don't believe we got any of those questions answered, and I wish those questions would have been asked and answered before this vote was taken. Further, did the board, and again, questions I wish would have been answered. Has the board received either a written or an in-person to the full board opinion from any legal counsel of the county, whomever that might have been at whatever time, that guided this decision or that informed Mr. Williams of all these legal principles he espoused? If there was legal counsel who did provide that service, either in a written form that's available to you and should now be available to the public, or if he appeared at a full board meeting, answered all the questions, including questions from the gallery, then of course I think you've done your due diligence to ensure that what you've done here and how you've done it is accurate. My limited information is that none of that has happened. And so you're operating on no definitive legal opinion which anyone has stood behind yet. You're operating under what Mr. Williams wants, what Mr. Williams thinks, and what Mr. Williams says he heard from talking to legal counsel. I don't think that's a sufficient basis to present this resolution and to take this very serious action that you did.
Sounds like hearsay.
Secondly, I wrote an opinion, and it's emailed to a number of you, the board members, and I encourage you, the rest of you, to get copies from the board members. I'm not your attorney, I'm not the county attorney, I'm a private attorney. You don't have to listen to anything I say. But I'm the only attorney, to my knowledge, who has been willing to stick their neck out and take a position and give an opinion. And hopefully some of you read it. In the opinion, if you choose to read it now, what you will find is, with all due respect, and you've always been willing to let me speak, and I always appreciate that, even though it's common that you and I don't agree, you've always let me speak. With all due respect, I disagree with every single legal principle you espouse. Every one. They're wrong. And you're leading this board to take action that could result in some significant legal consequences. That's my opinion. And that's based on fact and law. That's based on fact and law. And I don't. If you've got a contrary opinion, you might want to go get it in writing and have their name on it. You have no legal authority to declare anything unconstitutional. Farming is not unconstitutional. The statute is not unconstitutional. It's clear on its face. If you think it is, you have two options legally. You may go back to the legislature and convince them to change or amend it. Or you may seek a declaratory judgment action from this local court in this room, declaring it unconstitutional. You have no legal authority to make that decision, and that decision is wrong. Those decisions you have made, which resulted in no income for 23 off the farm, I'm sorry, 21, and 23 only half a season, have resulted in, approximate estimates, resulted in $120,000 or more of lost revenue to the county. And you had no legal authority to declare farming unconstitutional, and therefore you didn't farm. You had no authority to do that. The county is liable for that money to the citizens. This is where the legal consequences come in, and that's why it's always bad not to get your legal counsel to put their name on an opinion letter or stand before you and tell you what they think. You all have ventured out into a territory that others have told you is correct, but I'm telling you as an attorney, they're false. And if you chose to not farm in 24, which is obviously where you're headed, you're doing the same thing again. You're about to double the losses to the county revenue. You're about to double. There's enough people here, I'm telling you, and I said it in my memo, there will be a request for the state police integrity unit to investigate this board. We're making decisions that cost the county, the taxpayers, hundreds of thousands of dollars without legal authority. It will be an investigation. I encourage you to reconsider your vote tonight. Farm for 24, because if you don't farm, you're in jeopardy once again. So farming is constitutional, and if you don't farm, you violate the fiduciary duty to the public, and you take money out of the taxpayers' rolls, and there is no support for that. Last comment. And at 21 and 23, you broke contracts. The county's integrity is zero. You broke contracts with that farmer and then another farmer. Who was the other farmer?
Kenny Thompson.
You broke contract with them that cost them money. You are legally bound to pay those contracts, and you haven't bothered to do it. Please read my email. Call me. Please read my email.
Public body comment.
What did you say?
He wanted Tom to finish. He wanted to yield time, didn't really yield time. 5 minutes. Public body comment. Right here.
Hi, I'm Liz Schaefer. I just want to say, I believe Tom's right. I've spent a lot of time in this courtroom growing up. I do not have a law degree, not even by proxy, but my great-grandfather sat up there. My grandfather sat up there. My Uncle Ed, whose picture is right there, sat up there. My dad was a state's attorney in here, and then he had a nice private practice in here. And what you all are doing is a travesty. Every one of you, and you're not going to like it, because it's not just a case of, oh, we blew the fairy tale, we killed the goose that laid the golden eggs. You have violated the law, and you are continuing to do so.
Yep.
And we are fed up with it.
Let's sue.
Yeah. And we are getting competent counsel instead of twit counsel.
Yes.
And we are going to take this thing all the way. And so you should know that, and if you want to cover your butt a little bit, you would resign and get the hell out of Dodge.
Public body comment? Public body comment? Public body comment?
Hey, wait a minute. Okay. I'm going to go back to what you said about things being put on the agenda. And Erica saying that no, she didn't know what I was talking about. It was about the IMRF. When I first came onto this board, and I wanted the lady from St. Louis that I had several conversations with about how it's figured and everything that goes into it and stuff. And that lady agreed to come to a board meeting and explain to everybody, because I know there was other board members sitting there that didn't understand the retirement and stuff. I had it set up for her to come. I talked to her several times on the phone. And then I get the agenda, and first it was there, and then it was gone. And don't sit there and shake your head. I don't lie. Anybody sitting here that knows me knows I do not lie.
Hey.
No, it's my story.
Try to remember. Let her talk.
It's my story. When I found that it was taken off the agenda, I called the lady in St. Louis after I called Erica to see if she had notified her not to come to the meeting. And she told me that yes, she had notified her not to come. There she is shaking her head no. But I didn't believe that she had done it. So I called the lady and talked to her and apologized to her. Because I really did not understand, and I wanted that lady to come and explain to the entire board about IMRF, the retirement, how it's figured and everything else that goes into it and stuff. And she can sit there and shake her head no.
Jesus knows.
That she does, that this is not true, but it is true. I've asked for every month that the ARPA funds that are available be put on the agenda just as a line item at the very end so everybody sitting here knows how much money is left in that fund. No, I didn't send a request to her, but everybody's heard me ask this enough, and I went into her office and I got it from her, but in doing that, I also asked for the last 3 pages of a report that she refuses to send out to this board because it's something about collector accounts. But at the very end of that shows how much money this county has in the bank. It's on the last page of those 3 pages. She refuses to send the last 3 pages. She told me, I asked her, I said, you sit there and smirk all you want. I asked her if there was any records in that office that were not for the public to view. She said, yeah, my HR records. I said, I know that. I worked in HR. I know I can't look at people's personnel files. I don't want to. But I said, any other records in this office that are not for public to look at? And she said, no. And I said, well, I want the last 3 pages of that report. She told me, okay, you FOIA me, and I'll send it to you in 5 days. That's the conversation we had about those last 3 pages. That's the cooperation that you get when you walk in her office. That's how you're treated. I did not raise my voice. I don't even want to go in there because of the way I'm treated, and I'm sure other people in this room feel the same way. But it is her job to deal with people. You have to have people skills in order to have that job. She may not like everybody that walks in there, but you shouldn't know it when you walk in that door. I'm sorry, I'm done.
Anybody comment?
So I can't really say anything else that everybody else hasn't said because I agree with everybody, but I understand we have 25 minutes to stand or Herb to talk about I don't even know what. But we skip over Stu Fox, who's willing to, once again, which I told him 3 days ago, don't do it. They don't deserve you. You're too good for these people. And I told him that, and he said, you know what, sis? Which he doesn't really even know me that well, but that's what I love about farmers, they just call you sis. Because we respect each other, but he said, you know what, I was taught to do what's right, and that's what I'm going to do. And I said, well, I wouldn't do it for anything, because they don't respect you. They could care less about you. And it shows tonight because you skipped right over him to what I remember, 19, probably because those two told you to, I don't know. But right on the government website says, provides that farmland may be leased to either public or private entities for public purpose of financially supporting the operations of the government at any time or times and on any terms and conditions that the county board deems best for the interest of the county. What is wrong? What removes a requirement that the lease must be for a specified purpose? Removes. So why do you keep beating a dead freaking horse? It's right there. It's black and white. There's no question. What is it? Why? Why do you vote to sell it? Why, Martha? You're shaking your head. Go ahead, answer.
That language about being able to put funds to farm, just to put funds into the general fund was removed before that bill was passed and ratified in Springfield.
So you're saying this law means nothing? This law means nothing? I mean, it means nothing? He doesn't care. I mean, wait till Ruth gets in office. And the other thing is, because I can just sit and say what everybody else said, but where are our files that we spent $15,000 on? Does anybody know?
Thank you.
Does anyone know where our files are that left the courthouse, went to Woodstock? Someone got paid supposedly $50 an hour, and no one will answer the FOIA. Where are they?
He's the board chair.
Did they come back?
He was returned, that's what Hammond told me, because I asked him.
Well, he told her she has a tinfoil hat on her head, and he didn't have to answer.
And he told us this a cemetery was in the farm. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole farm was here. That's why he's got a 12.
I asked him, that's.
I mean, okay, I don't, you guys know. It's, thank you, all the farmers that tried to stand up for you.
Public body comment? Public body comment? Go ahead.
I've sat here.
Let her talk.
Hey, guys, be quiet, quiet.
And I wouldn't say that in front of a child like you do.
Go ahead, Martha.
I'm gaveling him right now.
Do I have the floor?
Okay, yes.
I've sat and listened to my sister be attacked.
Oh, there
And attacked and attacked. And one story that doesn't get told, because it doesn't fit the narrative, but after we sat and listened to Anna Bright talk about how toxic this county was, and rant and rave, and then leave, after 3 days of being gone, decided she wanted to come back. And Debbie Dunaway went to the Treasurer's Department and asked Erica, as the treasurer, if she could make sure that Debbie Dunaway, that Anna Bright wouldn't have. So the story that doesn't get told is after Anna Bright left and was gone for 3 days, Debbie Dunaway went down to Erica's office and said, "Hey, Anna's coming back. Anna's coming back. Can you help me make sure she doesn't have a gap in her health insurance? Can you help me make sure there's not a gap in her IMRF? Can you help me make sure?"
She said it like that. Exactly what you said.
"Can you please help me make sure that she can come back without any gaps?" Erica dropped everything on her plate that day, called the health insurance company on, did everything she needed to do to make sure there was absolutely not one gap for Anna Bright when she came back after being gone for 1 week. Does anybody tell a story about anything nice? No, because it doesn't fit a narrative. Let me share something.
Give respect her respect.
You are out of the room.
I am in the doorway. It's my
It's my floor.
I don't care.
My floor. It's my floor. The other thing I'm going to share, yes, I am upset. Because I'm sick and tired of good people in this room being attacked by you. Threats from an attorney that's not even our attorney.
What threat? What threat?
There are lots of threats in your emails, Mr. Phoenix.
Okay, you just show.
We'll find out about
Yeah,
that.
suggesting an investigation.
It's my floor. Erica was elected in 2018. She took office in 2018. So the first fiscal year she would have been responsible for funds in the county being invested would have been 2019. In the year 2016, the county earned $12,474.36 in interest. That's on a plain old savings account, not making diddly. In 2017, the amount was $13,490.58. In 2018, it was $14,463.62. 2019, the first year, Erica was the treasurer responsible for investing funds in other vehicles than just a savings account. The figure was $69,270.58. In 2020, the figure was $120,647.71. 2021, $88,844.69. 2022, $61,167.13. 2023, $187,953.59. And in 2024, year to date, $206,483. So for all of you that keep attacking her for not doing her job and not properly investing county funds, maybe you should get the figures before
I'm done.
Public body comment. Public body comment?
John, do you mind if I address Mr. Finch just a little bit? Do you mind, Mr. Finch?
Oh, no, of course.
Okay. So you mentioned in our email 2021 or 2022 board members. This board got placed in force December 22. So you're actually accusing 21 board members of whatever your charge was.
Yeah, right?
So.
No, he was, in 21 and 23, you all didn't farm, at least the whole year.
Right.
Hold on. So whoever the board was, that's all I'm saying. I don't know who the board members were.
Well, I'm just saying, you said in 21 and 23.
That's correct. That's when you didn't farm.
21 Farm Committee decided that they decided not to cash a lease, and they had not had the money in the budget to custom farm, and they refused to do an emergency amendment to the budget so they could custom farm. Fast forward to 22 when we took office. When did this law take effect? What was the date?
Which law are you talking about?
1049.2. It was August 4th, is that correct? August 4th of 23? Is that correct?
The date you have to, I don't know the exact date.
Well, look it up, it's August.
Well,
is that right?
That's right, 8/4/23.
Okay. So we had wheat, correct? We harvested in July, whatever that date was. So we could not legally, because 1049.2 was not signed into law, yes it wasn't, Christine, was not signed into law until August the 4th, too late to plant double crop beans.
That's not. The law has always been that you could farm. It's been the law for years and years.
That's not the point. There's timelines in the law.
And that's not even true.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is.
That's not even true.
They added point 2, but point 1 still allowed leasing and any lease or renting of property.
Right.
Point 2 is specific to farming because you all complained that you didn't think the Constitution let you farm, so they clarified that and said, hey, you can farm it, lest there not be any question. The information I have is in 21 it wasn't farmed because there was a dispute over taxes.
Okay.
And 23.
You've answered this question. You've already had a public body comment. Public body comment. Do you have any more, Mitch? Mitch, do you have any more?
I do. I'm sorry?
Do you have any more public body comments? Because I think he's a little bit off on his dates, because I know we farmed in 21 with students.
21
because we farmed in the fall of 22. 22 and 23.
21 was weeds because 22 was 22, Mr. Fox, fall of 22, we put in wheat. Correct, Jeff? Is that 22?
No, you forget that you're pretty
Now, anyway, irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
22.
5 minutes.
22.
Public body comment? Or
I don't know whether this is a question for the chairman, the clerk, or the treasurer, but on the question of capital gains, they're filed on Schedule D of your 1040s. Government entities don't file 1040 forms or taxes. And everything we've ever looked at throughout the years, there is no payment of capital gains because you don't file taxes as a government entity, either income or capital gains. So I don't know what question got asked of the Department of Revenue, but the form tells you what you do and don't have to do. And I don't believe you folks have ever filed, any government entity has filed a tax return. And without a tax return, there's no capital gains. Ask a CPA, I'm not one.
I've asked the auditor.
Is there capital gains on the interest that's accrued?
no.
No? Yeah, I think that'd be a gain.
Government entities are taxed as entities.
Public body comment. Public body comment. Public body comment. Mark.
Mark Shanks, I just had one quick question. Kind of an elephant in the room, I think. Where's our state's attorney? Where has he been all of these times? I've been to way too many of these meetings. I think he was at one. He's the one that's supposed to advise you, answer questions when you guys have concerns about legality, about the legal system. Where's the state's attorney? Where's he been? There are some people on this board that have espoused how wonderful this attorney is and how he's the best attorney since Lincoln. and yet I've not seen nothing more than one meeting. Anybody want to answer that? Or?
I think I can
Well,
answer.
sure, I'll give you a quick synopsis. I'd rather not be here. Because if you take an attorney's opinion off the cuff, unless they have spent the whole week reviewing every agenda item, just like a board member would do, then they would need to be just as sharp on their law, and there could be conflicting things in there. Now, time out. Your time has been spent. I'm answering your question.
Mine have not spent. I have a lot more.
No, you stopped, so you're done.
He stopped.
You said he was done.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, I said, are you done? And you knocked your head and stepped back.
Well, I didn't.
All right, fine. I'll give you 4 minutes. Go ahead.
What I was going to say is that I've served on the city council for a while. Our attorney, Jack Kiley, is an excellent attorney. He's there at every meeting. He has his laptop in front of him with the codes up. If there's a question, we ask Jack. If he doesn't have the answer or doesn't want to give an off-the-cuff answer, he says, let me research that and get back to you.
All are viable, but also if your attorney is there, they're a witness to something that could happen. So there's some nuances that are given. That is opinion. Somebody comment. Somebody comment? Somebody comment?
Motion to adjourn.
Right back here.
Back here.
So, I can't pull that up.
You drop something.
Anyways, I read a quote a while back. I didn't write it. I can't take credit for it, but they said, in life, you want to think of decisions in 3 buckets. A new hat, a new haircut, and a tattoo decision. A new hat is something that you can just try it out. If it doesn't work, you just throw the hat away, get a new hat. A haircut decision is a little bit longer. You know, it leaves a stain on you for about a month or 2 until your hair regrows. But ultimately, it's a relatively short-term decision. And then the third type of decision is a tattoo. And no disrespect to anybody that has tattoos, but they are permanent. It does leave a permanent mark on you, and it's one of those things that unless you know really what you want to do, how you want to do it, and it's well researched, you're stuck with that decision. You know, it's stuck. So I know we don't have any, except for Tom, we don't have any state's attorneys or anybody that could, you know, answer some of these questions that the public had, and we don't have any CPAs or anybody that can answer the questions that, you know, was brought up about capital gains tax. And I don't know that to be true or not. I'm not a tax expert. I'm not a legal scholar. I'm not any of that stuff. I'm just saying the most prudent thing to me seems that, you know, we need to be just careful. If selling the farm is the ultimate outcome, you know, you need to have answers to all these questions. That's the only thing it seems to me as an observer.
Anybody comment? Nobody comment? Nobody comment? Adjourn. Tim makes a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You guys will sleep.
Bullshit.